Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Am I audible and visible? Good evening, Garima, Anushka, Hema, Ankush, Megha. Yeah, good evening. Yeah, Eid Mubarak, belated. Brajneet, Kriti, Naikar, Nancy. Am I audible and visible? Yeah, thank you, Nancy. Yeah, thank you, Brajneet. Roshan, Godavari, Roshni, Deepshika, all good, great. So last week, rather, uh, last evening, yesterday was a holiday. Last evening, I finished Indus civilization or Harappan civilization, and today let me begin with Vedic period. Let's hope to finish this topic today. Vedic period, both early Vedic period and later Vedic period. So some more people join in, and then I'll begin. Gunjan, good evening. Hemlata, Simran, Golam. Yeah, thank you, Golam. You're welcome. So let's talk about this topic, Vedic period. Vedic period. Yeah, Pallavi, good evening. Yuksin. So Vedic period. Why is it called Vedic period? Because the main source of information for the study of this period are the Vedas. The Vedic literature is the main source of information for the study of this period. We hardly have any archaeological sources for the study of this period or for the reconstruction of this period. We rely entirely on Vedic literature for the study of this period, hence called Vedic period. Yuvaganaka. Yeah. Okay. So let me use another page, fresh page. So this period is called Vedic period. Vedic period, and the overall time span 1500 to 600 BC, which is divided into two parts. We have the early Vedic period, also called Rig Vedic period, and this period is from 1500 to 1000 BC, and later Vedic period from 1000 to 600 BC. Overall, 1500 to 600 BC, Vedic period. Now, why is it called Vedic period? Understand this, very simple topic, easy topic, interesting also. Let's talk about it. So, why is it called Vedic period? Because the main source of information for the reconstruction of this period are the Vedas. So, main source for the study of this period are the Vedas, or the Vedic literature. So we rely entirely on the Vedic literature for the study of this topic, for the reconstruction of the history of this period. So next question obviously arises: who are the authors of the Vedas? Who were the ones who composed the Vedas? Now I know you know quite a lot of information, but just listen to me. Now, who are the authors of the Vedas? Supposedly the Aryans. Brajneet, Yuksin, you're right. Supposedly the Aryans. So the Aryans were the authors of the Vedas, or they were the ones who composed the Vedas. So the next question obviously arises: who are the Aryans? Who were these Aryans? Now, there were some scholars who said that the Aryans came from outside India. So we have two theories. We have the foreign origin theory. Foreign origin theory as regards the Aryans, as regards the origin of the Aryans, and then we have the indigenous theory. Another group of scholars said that they originated indigenously, locally. Now I'll show you a chart and we'll come back here after some time. Just hold here. See here on your screen. These are the various scholars on your screen. This is the foreign origin theory. These are the various scholars who believed that the Aryans came from outside India. Penka, he said that they came from Germany. Penka said they came from Germany. Max Muller gave the opinion that they came from Central Asia. Giles and MacDonald, Austro-Hungarian region, Austria-Hungary region. Dayananda Saraswati, the founder of the Arya Samaj, he believed that they came from Tibet. And Bal Gangadhar Tilak said that they came from the Arctic region. So these are the various theories given by various scholars as regards the original homeland of the Aryans. Penka, Germany; Max Muller, Central Asia; Giles and MacDonald, Austro-Hungary region; Dayananda Saraswati, Tibet; Tilak said Arctic region. Right? This is the foreign origin theory. Then we have another group of scholars who said that they were locals. Aryans never came from outside India. They were very much indigenous to this country. They were locals. And we have a number of scholars on your screen. This is the indigenous origin theory about the Aryans, as regards the Aryans. A.C. Das, Sampurnanand. These two said they came from the Sapta Sindhu region, the land of 7 rivers. Indus, its 5 eastern tributaries, and the Saraswati. Totally 7. Indus, then its 5 eastern tributaries, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Bias, Satluj, and Saraswati. We'll come to that in some time, just hold on. So land of 7 rivers. They came from the Sapta Sindhu region. That's what A.C. Das and Sampurnanand said. Then D.S. Kala believed that they came from Kashmir and Himalayas. Ganganath Jha, he said they came from so-called Brahma Rishi Desha, between the rivers Saraswati, Drishadwati. And D.S. Trivedi said that they came from the Devika region, Multan Sindh region, from the region of Pakistan, present-day Pakistan. Now, this is the indigenous origin theory as regards the origin of the Aryans. Now, the consensus of opinion, understand this, the consensus of opinion among scholars is that of Max Muller. Max Muller, a German Indologist. Max Muller, who was a German Indologist. I told you who's an Indologist. Indologist is somebody who takes interest in India's history, culture, religion, philosophy, etc. So Max Muller believed that they came from Central Asia. They came from Central Asia. And this opinion of Max Muller has been accepted by most of the scholars. This opinion of Max Muller was accepted by most of the scholars, that the Aryans came from Central Asia. Now look here. Are you clear till here, all of you? If you can raise your hands, I'll be very grateful so that I can know that you have understood till now. I'll continue. Thank you. So I'll use another page now. I'll open another page. So here, thank you, Ankush, Pallavi, Roshan. So here, Max Muller came out with this theory that they came from Central Asia, and most of the historians agree to the opinion of Max Muller. Now the question is, why did the Aryans come to India? Now why have I come here to the studio? I have a purpose. Why are you there on the other side of the studio? Because you have some purpose to attend the class. Right. So we all have some purpose. Now, what was the purpose of the Aryans is the question. Now, the Aryans, I'll use another page. They were living in this large area called Eurasia. Understand this? They originally belonged to this large area called Eurasia. What is this Eurasia? That area from southern Russia. To Central Asia. Is called Eurasia. So I believe they were living here. I can show you another picture here on your screen. You can see here. This here. You can see this map on your screen. So they were living in this large area called Eurasia. Right? You can see here. All right? Whatever map is there on your screen. So they were living in this area called Eurasia. And what was their main occupation here? They were pastoralists. Basically, they were into animal husbandry. They were pastoralists. That is, cows and pasture, cows and grasslands, pasture were their main source of wealth. Cows and pasture were their main source of wealth. Now, we are told by this, so there's a theory here. There's a theory, understand this theory. We are told that the population of the Aryans increased. So basically, their main occupation was animal husbandry, or they were pastoralists. Cows and pastures were their main source of wealth when they were living in this large area called Eurasia. And the population of the Aryans had increased. The population of their cattle had increased. And around 2000 BC, we are told that around 2000 BC, there was a global change in the weather. The weather of the world changed. And there was therefore a drastic depletion in the grasslands available in this area. There was a drastic depletion in the grassland because of the global change in the weather. Therefore, the Aryans, this area, the Eurasia, could not sustain themselves because of the drastic decline in the availability of grass, of fresh pastures. So I believe the Aryans began to migrate to different parts of the earth. One went towards the west, went one branch of Aryans along with their cattle in search of fresh pastures, in search of fresh grasslands. They went towards west, up to Europe in Ireland, up to Ireland in Europe. So they went all the way to Europe, up to Ireland. So they went along with their cattle in search of fresh pastures. Another branch went towards West Asia. Another branch of the Aryans, along with their cattle, went towards West Asia. And another branch of the Aryans came towards India. They came towards India. They traveled east and came towards India. And on the way, they stayed in Iran for some time. They lived in Iran for some time. From the Iran, they entered Afghanistan and lived in Afghanistan for some time. And then they entered India. And they entered India. This is a theory. Yeah, Europe plus Asia, just one. So they were living in this large area called Eurasia. And in this Eurasia, the focal point of their life was, the nucleus was Central Asia. Max Muller says they basically were from Central Asia. But they were spread over this large area from southern Russia to Central Asia called Eurasia. Their main occupation was pastoralism. There was a global change in the weather around 2000 BC, and the Aryans from this area began to migrate to different parts of the earth. One branch went towards Europe, another branch went towards West Asia, Middle East, and another branch came towards India. On the way, they stopped over in Iran for some time. They lived in Iran. Then they lived from Iran, they entered Afghanistan, lived in Afghanistan for some time. And from Afghanistan, they entered India. Right? Are you clear till here? Are you clear till here? This is just to, no, look here. From the exam point of view, this is not important. Whatever I'm telling you from the exam point of view is not important. But I'm telling you this for you to understand the topic. If you understand the background, right, it will become very easy for you to relate to what the Aryans were up to, right, or what they were doing here in this country. So this is a theory. It will help you to understand this topic better. Yeah, whatever it is, assumed, presumed, there are a lot of historians who say this theory is nonsense. But then in whatever standard books we are referring to, R.S. Sharma or any other book, this is a theory given, right? And you need to understand this theory. Did you understand? So you might have your personal opinion, but you keep that aside, and we'll go by what is believed by most of the historians, conventional historians, right? Ankush, we'll come back here. So there was a global change in the weather, and they went to different parts of the earth. And one branch came towards India. They stayed over in Iran for some time, and then Afghanistan, and then they entered India. Now, how do the historians substantiate this? They said from Central Asia, they came into Iran. They stayed in Iran for some time. And from Iran, they entered Afghanistan, stayed in Afghanistan for some time. And from Afghanistan, they entered India. Now, how is this theory supported or substantiated? Now, look here. The Aryans were nature worshippers. They were nature worshippers. They were not able to understand why there is a sun in the sky, moon in the sky, thunder, lightning, rain, etc. So they gave names to these natural phenomena: Surya, Prithvi, Agni, Akasha, Vayu, Varuna, Indra, etc. So they gave names to these gods, these natural phenomena. Indra, Agni, Vayu, Varuna, Nasatyas, etc. They composed shlokas, hymns. Hymns are shloks in praise of these natural forces or gods, what they presumed as gods, and they used to worship these natural forces. Okay, they gave names to these natural forces, composed shlokas or hymns, and they used to worship them. Now we have the names of these gods in the Rig Veda. Rig Veda was a book. Rig Veda was composed by Aryans in India. Okay, and obviously there is a reference to these gods in the Rig Veda: Indra, Agni, Vayu, Varuna, Nasatyas. So all these gods are mentioned in the Rig Veda, and Rig Veda was composed in India, as you all know, right? So Rig Veda, which was composed in India, makes a mention, obviously, of all these gods. But very surprisingly, we have the oldest book of Iran, oldest text of Iran. The name of this book is Zend Avesta. Zend Avesta. Zend Avesta, the oldest textbook of Iran, also makes a reference to the names of these gods: Indra, Agni, Vayu, Varuna, Nasatyas. So obviously the question arose: how did the Zend Avesta, which is a book of Iran, come to know about the names of these gods? So obviously, historians say they must have stayed in Iran for some time. Aryans must have stayed in Iran for some time. And that is the reason why the Zen Devasta is able to mention the names of these gods. Okay, this is one theory. Did you understand here? So Zen Devasa also makes a reference to the names of these gods. Now, then historians say, from Iran, they enter. So they gave names to these gods, Shailaja. The sages, sages gave names to these gods, the natural phenomena, and they composed hymns in praise of these gods. Now listen, just come back here. So here, Zen Devasta mentions the names of all these gods. Now then, this theory says from Iran they entered Afghanistan for some time. How do we know this? And they lived in Afghanistan for some time. Now look here, I'll use another page. Now we have the river Indus. Understand this? We have the river Indus. And when the Aryans came into India, understand this? When the Aryans came into India, I'll show you a map here. You see the screen here. See this map here on your screen. You see the arrow mark here. So this is the route taken by the Aryans. They came into India like this, through the northwest. Okay, as you can see that arrow. So when the Aryans came into India, they saw a huge river. Understand this? They called that river as Sindhu. They called that river as Sindhu. They had never seen a river of that size. In the path of their migration from Central Asia, they had never seen such a big river. So the Aryans called this river as Sindhu. Right. They call this river as Sindhu. Now, understand this. This Sindhu has both western and eastern tributaries. The western tributaries flow in Afghanistan. Understand this. We have the Sindhu River, which has its western tributaries and eastern tributaries. What are the western tributaries of the Sindhu River? They flow in Afghanistan, present day Afghanistan. So, what are the western tributaries of the Sindhu? Gomal, understand this? Gomal, the Gomti River, Suvastu, Swat River, Krumu, Khurram River, Kubha, Kabul River. These are the old as well as the modern names. These are the names of these rivers mentioned in the Rig Veda. Gomal is Gomti. The modern name is Gomti. Suvastu is Swat River in Afghanistan. They all flow in Afghanistan, these rivers. Krumu, Khurram River. And then Kuba or Kabul River. And the eastern tributaries of the Sindhu flow in India and Pakistan. What are the eastern tributaries of the Indus? Of Sindhu, which flow in India and Pakistan. So eastern tributaries flow in India and Pakistan. Now, what are the eastern tributaries of the Indus? Understand this. So we have the Jhelum. Jhelum Chenab, Ravi, Bias, and Satluj. Now, these are the modern names. What are the names mentioned in the Rig Veda about these regarding the names of these rivers? Eastern tributaries of the Indus. Jhelum, Vitastha. Understand this. Vitastha. Jhelum is Vitastha. Asikini is Chanab. Chanab is Asikini. Ravi, Parushni. Bias, Vipasa. Vipasa. And Satlaj is Sutudri or Satudri. Now understand this, right? Eastern tributaries of the Sindhu flow in India and Pakistan. And the Rig Veda obviously mentions the names of these rivers because they flow in India and Pakistan. The Rig Veda was supposedly composed by the Aryans in India. So the Rig Veda was familiar with the names of the eastern tributaries of the Sindhu which flow in India and Pakistan. The question is, how come the Rig Veda, which was composed in India, is familiar with the western tributaries of the Sindhu which flow in Afghanistan? Did you understand? These are the western tributaries of the Sindhu which flow in Afghanistan. But still the Rig Veda mentions the names of these western tributaries of the Sindhu. So historians say, obviously, the Aryans must have stayed in Afghanistan for some time. And that is the reason why the Rig Veda makes a mention of these rivers. Did you understand the theory here? So all of you, did you understand? Can you raise your hands? So here they took this route from Central Asia, they entered Iran. From Iran, they entered Afghanistan and stayed in Afghanistan for some time. And from Afghanistan, they entered India. Clear? So please remember these, old names and equivalent names. Right? So this is what historians have done, Ankush. We'll come to that. Shailaja, just hold on. I'll answer your question. Just hold on. Now, when the Aryans, now let us understand how the name India has come about. How the name India has come about. How has the name India has come about? Now we'll understand that. How did the name India come about? So when the Aryans entered India, they saw a huge river. What did the Aryans name that river as? Sindhu. They called this river as Sindhu. So I'll use another page here. Just hold on. So I'll use another page here. Okay. So when the Aryans entered India, they saw a huge river. They called that river as Sindhu. They called that river as Sindhu. The size of this river, the size of which they had never seen earlier in the path of their migration. Now, so the Aryans were the ones who called this river as Sindhu. Then in our history, we have in the year 326 BC. Sorry, we have in the year 516 BC. In 516 BC, we have a Persian king called Darius. Persia is the old name for Iran. So Persian king or Iranian king, his name was Darius. Darius conquers the Sindhu region, where the river Sindhu flows. Darius, the king of Persia, conquered this region. And the Persians had a problem in pronouncing the letter S. So when they tried to say Sindhu, from their mouth came out Hindu. So for the Persians, this river became Hindu. So for the Aryans, this river was called Sindhu. For the Persians, this river became Hindu. The same river, but they had a problem in pronouncing the letter Sa. So when they tried to say Sindhu, from their mouth came out Hindu. Then thirdly, we have Alexander in 326 BC. 326 BC, Alexander the Great, Greek king, Greek ruler of Macedonia, comes to India. And Alexander and the Greeks called this river in their language as Indus. So Sindhu became Indus for the Greeks. Then later in our history, that is in 712 AD. So here please understand, Aryans called this river as Sindhu. Then the Persians called it as Hindu. The river became Hindu for them. And the people who were living on the banks of this river Hindu became Hindus. And the land where this river flows became Hindustan. So the river was called Hindu. People living on the banks of that river Hindu became Hindus. And the land where this river flows or flowed was called Hindustan by the Persians. The Greeks called this river Indus. Then again in 712 AD, we have the Arabs. Arabs conquer Sindh. When we come to Arab conquest of Sindh, we'll talk about it. So the Arabs conquered Sindh. And the Arabs also had the same problem in pronouncing the letter S. So when they tried to say Sindhu, from their mouth came out Hindu. So for the Arabs, again, the old name Hindu came back. And finally, the British called this country as India. They called this country as India after the river Indus. So after the river Indus, they called this country as India. Otherwise, what is the name of this country in the Rig Veda, in the Vedas? It is Bharatavarsha. The name of this country in the Vedic literature is Bharatavarsha, which is part of the 7 concentric islands called Jambudvipa. So you have 7 concentric islands, I believe, like this, 7 concentric islands. And a part of this island is Jambudvipa. A part of this 7 concentric island called Jambudvipa is Bharatavarsha. So the name of this country in the Vedic literature is Bharatavarsha. Are you there with me? Did you understand? Yeah. So in the Vedic literature, it is Bharatavarsha. What Vasco da Gama called India? I'm not very sure, Jaswant. Yeah. What Vasco da Gama called India? Probably. The British were the ones who called this country India, right? So Vasco da Gama comes in 1498. What he called, I'm not very sure. But are you clear till here? What did you understand how the name India has come about? So I said, Nancy, India. So in the Vedic literature, India is called Bharatavarsha, which is part of the 7 concentric islands called Jambudvipa. Right? Are you there with me? Bhimaray, just hold on. I'm coming to that. So here, so this is the theory. You can see here, Aryans from Central Asia, they entered Iran, stayed in Iran for some time. From Iran, they entered Afghanistan and stayed in Afghanistan for some time, and then they entered India. And how do we substantiate this? How do historians substantiate this? They say that we have the names of certain gods mentioned in the Rig Veda, which were worshipped by the Aryans, like Indra, Agni, Vayu, Varuna, etc. The names of these gods are mentioned in the Rig Veda, but the Zend-Avesta, the oldest Iranian textbook, also mentions about these gods. So obviously, historians presume that Aryans must have stayed in Iran for some time. Then regarding the Aryans coming and staying in Afghanistan for some time, I have just now explained to you. We have the Sindhu River or the Indus River, which has both eastern and western tributaries. Eastern tributaries of the Sindhu flow in India and Pakistan. The Rig Veda mentions the eastern tributaries of the Sindhu, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Bias, Satluj. But then the Rig Veda also makes a reference to the western tributaries of the Indus or Sindhu, which flow in Afghanistan. So, though the Rig Veda was composed in India, it is familiar with the western tributaries of the of Sindhu, which flow in Afghanistan. So the presumption is the Aryans must have stayed in Afghanistan for some time, and that is why the Rig Veda is familiar with the western tributaries of the Sindhu. Are you there with me? Deepshika, I've already told you. See, just hold on. Well, again, so here, Bharatavarsha is part of the 7 concentric islands called Jambudvipa. So part of Jambudvipa. Part of Jambudvipa is Bharatavarsha. So this country is called Bharatavarsha. Part of Jambudvipa. Deepshika, are you clear? No. So here Persians had a problem in pronouncing the letter Sindhu. So it became Hindu. The river became Hindu. The people living on the banks of the river became Hindus, and the land where the river flows became Hindustan. So it was common. Hindustan, was commonly used both by the Persians as well as the Arabs. Right. Shaileja, I'll answer your question. Just hold on. Now, so when the Aryans entered India, please understand, I'll use another page here. Just hold on. When the Aryans entered India, they saw a huge river and they called that river as Sindhu. So this is Sindhu, right? Now, next to Sindhu flows the Satluj, Satudri or Sutudri. So there's the Satluj here, the Satudri. Then we have the Yamuna here. We have the Yamuna here, Yamuna river, and then the Ganga. Now, for the first 500 years, when the Aryans entered India, for the first 500 years, they stayed in this area between the Satluj in the west and Yamuna in the east. And this area came to be called Sapta Sindhu region. This area came to be called Sapta Sindhu region, the land of 7 rivers, Sapta Sindhu region. And for how many years? How many years did the Aryans stay here when they entered India? For 500 years. So what are the between 2 rivers they stayed, I believe. One is Satudri or Satluj, right? So they stayed between the Satluj in the west and Yamuna in the east. And that area came to be called Sapta Sindhu region. And Max Muller, the German Indologist, tells us what is the meaning of Sapta Sindhu. What are the river constituting Sapta Sindhu? Obviously, we have the Sindhu river. We have the Sindhu river. Then we have its 5 eastern tributaries. That is Jhelum. Remember the equivalent names and the old names: Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Bias, and Satluj. That is, Jhelum is what? Vitasta. Jhelum. Chenab is Asikini. Ravi is Parushni. Vipasa is Bias. And Satluj is Sutudri. So Sindhu, its 5 eastern tributaries, and Saraswati, plus Saraswati. So when you count all these, it becomes 7. This is called land of 7 rivers. What are the 7 rivers? You see here, Sindhu is one. Okay, then Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Bias, Satluj. That makes it 6. And Saraswati makes it 7. This is called the land of 7 rivers. Are you clear? So here, yeah, Bhimare, there was no Pakistan during those days. Obviously, Bharatavarsha would be all those areas, including parts of Afghanistan. Okay, it was a huge area. So that is Bharatavarsha. Okay, now we'll come back here. So this is called the land of 7 rivers. So here, for the first 500 years, the Aryans lived in the Sapta Sindhu region. And only one book, understand this, only one book gives information about the first 500 years of the life of the Aryans. So that is Rig Veda. Only one book gives information, that is the Rig Veda, about the first 500 years of the life of the Aryans. That is from 1500. Understand this? From 1500 to 1000 BC. Only one book gives information about the life of the Aryans, and that is the Rig Veda. Therefore, this period is also called Rig Vedic period. This period is also called Rig Vedic period. Rig Vedic period. Wait, just hold on. So this period is also called Rig Vedic period. Also called early Vedic period. Something is wrong with the pen, just hold on. Also called early Vedic period. Are you there with me? Hardly any archaeological evidence. We hardly have any archaeological evidence. Very less archaeological evidence is there. We rely entirely on Vedic literature for the reconstruction of the study of this period, and therefore called Vedic period. So only one book gives information about the first 500 years of the life of the Aryans, that is the Rig Veda, therefore called Rig Vedic period or early Vedic period. And from the Rig Veda, what do we come to know? We come to know about the geographical knowledge of Rig Vedic Aryans. What was the geographical knowledge? What was their geographical knowledge of India when they came into the country? What was their geographical knowledge? Just hold on. I need to change my pen, I suppose. Just hold on. ये पेन it was not writing properly. हाँ? Not writing properly. एक और पेन है क्या? बीच में गड़बड़ आ रहा है. Thank you. Thanks, sir. I sorry to disturb you.
No, just check. नहीं आप वो दोनों रखो. आप दोनों रखो जो भी वर्क करे.
हाँ, okay. Okay, we'll come back here. So here from the Rig Veda, we get a lot of information. So what does the Rig Veda talk about? The geographical knowledge of early Aryans. So what was the geographical knowledge of India? Okay, so from the Rig Veda, what do we know about the geographical knowledge of Aryans? Geographical knowledge. How was their political structure, polity, society? So how was the social composition or society of the Aryans? Then how was their economy when they came into India? And how was their religion? What were their religious practices? So we get to know all these from the Rig Veda. Are you there with me? Geographical knowledge, polity, society, economy, and religion. Okay. So far, so good. Now understand this. So here, historians tell us, understand this. Historians tell us they were living in this area called Eurasia, that large area called Eurasia. And because of a global change in the weather, the Aryans began to migrate to different parts of the earth along with their cattle. One branch went towards the west, towards Europe, another branch towards the Middle East, and another branch came towards India. And then we have seen how they try to substantiate this theory as regards the route taken by the Aryans. They came to India via Iran, Afghanistan, and then India. Now, philology. So this is the literary evidence we have. This is the literary evidence we have regarding the route taken by the Aryans. Philology, understand this, philology what is philology? Philology also tries to support this theory. Understand this, philology is a study of comparative languages. Study of comparative languages. Study of comparative languages. So philology also supports this theory. philology is a study of comparative languages. Now, there was a 16th century philologist. Okay, his name was Filippo Sessetti. Filippo Sessetti. His name was Filippo Sessetti. He was an Italian philologist. So, as a philologist, he knew many languages of the world. He knew many languages of the world. Filippo Sessetti. In the 16th century, an Italian philologist was shocked. He was shocked and at the same time excited to notice certain things in all these languages: Sanskrit, English, Persian, Latin, German, etc. So he noticed, since he knew all these languages and he was a philologist, that is, study of comparative languages, an expert in comparing languages, so he obviously has to know the language in detail, including the grammar, the syntax, etc. So philology, this Philippo Society noticed that there were certain words in all these languages, such as English, Sanskrit, German, Latin, Greek, etc., whose meanings are the same. They rhyme with each other. The words rhyme with each other, and their meanings are the same. Now look here on your screen. I have given one example. He gives many. Look here on your screen. Filippo Sassetti. Right now, he was a philologist, and he noticed that certain words are similar in all these languages, and their meanings are the same. For example, we call mother as mother in English, isn't it? So in English, mother, is mother. So here, mother in English. In Sanskrit, matra or matra. In Persian and Latin, it is meta. In German, muta. And in Greek, mitor, all referring to mother. And he gives many other examples, hundreds of examples he gives. And Filippo Sassetti came to the conclusion that there are some words in all these languages whose meanings are the same and they rhyme with each other. They not only rhyme with each other, just hold on. They not only rhyme with each other, their meanings are also the same. And Filippo Sassetti came to the conclusion that all these languages, English, Sanskrit, Persian, Latin, German, Greek, they have originated from one mother language. He says that these languages have originated from one mother language. Now, so he says there is a root language for all these languages, and that is there is one common language, mother language, from which all these languages have originated. And we have a person called William Jones. Understand this? William Jones, who founded the Asiatic Society of Bengal. William Jones called this mother language as Indo-European. Somebody used the word Indo-European sometime back in the so he calls this mother language as Indo-European language. William Jones. Max Muller called this mother language as Aryan. Right? Again, somebody in the question asked me what is Aryan. So here I'll come to that. Just hold on. So William Jones called this mother language as Indo-European. Max Muller, the German Indologist, called this mother language as Aryan. And we have a German called Penka. Penka identified language with race. He said he identified language with race. He says Penka came to the opinion that people who speak all these languages, English, Sanskrit, German, Persian, Latin, Greek, etc., he says they are tall. They are tall, they have a radiant complexion, they have blonde hair, they have aquiline features, sharp features, blue or green eyes, etc. So he says people who speak all these languages look common, they look similar. But please understand, the word Aryan doesn't have any racial connotation. It only refers to a people who speak a group of languages. Just as the word Dravidian also means people who speak a group of languages, right? So now how do we substantiate this? All these languages have originated from one mother language. Now look here on your screen. I'll go back to the map here. On your screen, you can see here, the Aryans were living in this area called Eurasia, and they began to migrate to different parts of the earth, right? So along with their cattle, one branch went towards Europe, another branch went towards the Middle East, another branch came towards India. So from this area, from this common area, they began to migrate to different parts of the earth. While they were living in that area, in Eurasia, they had a language through which they used to communicate. So when they migrated to different parts of the earth along with their cattle in search of fresh pastures, they took that language also along with them, right? But then there were some people who were already living in Europe, who were already living in the Middle East, who were already living in India. So here what happened is this mother language, which was taken to those areas by the Aryans, that got lost over a period of time. It got mixed up with the local languages already existing in those parts of the world. So the mother language got mixed up, and over a period of time, the mother language was lost. But some words have remained common in all these languages because these are words which are used very, very commonly on a regular basis, on a daily basis, like mother, father, etc. So this is how this theory is substantiated by philology. Are you there with me? Did you understand what I was trying to tell you? So this is what they say, historians say. Clear? So here, so what you need to remember is all these languages have originated from one mother language. William Jones called that mother language as Indo-European. Max Muller called that language as Aryan, and Penka gave a racial connotation to the word Aryan, stating that people who speak all these languages, English, Sanskrit, Persian, Latin, German, etc., they look similar. But then please understand, the word Aryan has no racial connotation. It only refers to a people who speak a group of languages. Have I cleared all your doubts? Ankush, I have not. No, don't bother about it. I myself don't know. I have just taken one example to convey the message to all of you. Sakshi, in the Vedic literature, this country is called Bharatavarsha, part of Jambudvipa. Okay, we'll come back here. Clear now? So let me move on. So go through this, you'll understand. Now we'll come back here. So here only one book gives information about, so this is the background information. Whatever I have just now told you is the background information about this topic. What you need to remember is the names of the rivers and the equivalent names, modern names. Like for example, the eastern tributaries of the Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Bias, Satluj. What are the Rig Vedic equivalent terms? UPSC has asked questions from there. So just keep whatever I've told you in the mind, and then we'll come back. We'll look at the questions later, whatever type of questions which UPSC has asked from this chapter. So only one book gives information about the first 500 years of the life of the Aryans. That is called the Rig Veda. Therefore, this period is also called Rig Vedic period or early Vedic period. Okay, as you can see on your screen, this period is divided into two parts. This period is divided into two parts. Vedic period is from 1500 to 600 BC, which is divided into two parts. Early Vedic period or Rig Vedic period, 1500 to 1000 BC. Only Rig Veda gives information about this period. And then this period is called later Vedic period, 1000 to 600 BC. Because why is it called later Vedic period? Because we have the other part of the Vedic literature, minus the Rig Veda, we have other books. Samaved, I'll come to that later. Samaved, Atharva Ved, Yajurved, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, Upanishads, Dharmashastras or Smritis, that is law books of India. Dharmashastras or Smritis like Manava Dharmashastra, that is Manu Dharmashastra, Yagnavalka Smriti, Narada Smriti, Priyasmriti Smriti, epics like Ramayana, Mahabharata, all this is known as later Vedic literature. These books give information about the next 400 years of the life of the Aryans, that is 1000 to 600 BC. Hence, this period is called later Vedic period because later Vedic literature gives information about this period. Did you understand? That's why called later Vedic period. Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharva Veda, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, Upanishads, epics, Dharmashastras, etc. Clear? That's why we divide it into two parts. Early Vedic period or Rig Vedic period, later Vedic period. Now we'll come back here. So from the Rig Veda, what is the geographical knowledge we get of the Aryans? Once they entered India, what part of India is mentioned in the Vedic literature, in the Rig Veda? So if any part of India is mentioned in the Rig Veda, that means the Aryans were familiar with that place. And that is why the Rig Veda mentions about that place. If a particular part of India is not mentioned in the Rig Veda, that means Aryans had not gone to that part of the country. They were not familiar with that place. That's why that place is not mentioned in the Rig Veda. Similarly, what do we know about their political structure, society, economy, and religion? So let's talk about it. So on your screen, so early part of the Vedic literature is called Rig Veda. Okay, Bhimare, early part of the Vedic literature is called Rig Veda. So Veda is divided to four parts. We have the four Vedas, that is called the Smriti. We'll come to that when I do Vedic literature. We have a topic called literature in art and culture. So at that time, I'll deal with Vedic literature. Generally, Vedic literature, you see, it is divided to two parts, Smriti and Shruti. I don't want to confuse you now, Bhimare, but since you're asking me, I'll tell you. I might confuse others, but don't worry about it. We'll come back. So we have Vedic literature divided into two parts. One is called Shruti and the other is called Smriti. What is Shruti? Shruti is divinely revealed knowledge. I believe the gods revealed the knowledge of the Vedas to the sages through the medium of sound. So the knowledge of the Vedas are conveyed by the gods, was conveyed by the gods to the sages. And the sages heard the knowledge of the Vedas from the gods, and then they recorded that in their memory. Whatever they heard, they recorded that knowledge in their mind, and then they later wrote it. It was initially transmitted orally, the knowledge of the Vedas. The same explanation is there in the Holy Quran. For example, Prophet Muhammad, I believe, he used to go to a cave in Makkah and he used to meditate frequently in that cave. So one day, as he was meditating in that cave, he heard a voice. Supposedly that of God Allah, and God Allah conveyed some knowledge to Prophet Muhammad. So as he was meditating, and Prophet Muhammad heard all these words spoken by God Allah. Then he recorded that in his memory, in his mind, and then he came back and he asked his students. He dictated whatever he had heard from God Allah to his students, and they wrote whatever Prophet Muhammad dictated. That is the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran is supposed to be the word of God Allah. That's what the Muslims believe. Similarly, we have thousands of years back, the Vedas were supposedly composed by the sages, but then it was the gods who revealed the knowledge of the Vedas to the sages. Did you understand, Bhimre? So this is called Shruti. We have four Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, and so they are added with Samhitas. Okay, that which is easy to remember. That's called Samhita. So Rig Veda Samhita, Yajur Veda Samhita, Atharva Veda Samhita, Sama Veda, Samhita, like that. Brahmanas, Aranyakas, Upanishads. So these seven constitute what is known as Shruti. Then what is Smriti then? Smriti is that part of the Vedic literature which is written down by sages. Gods did not reveal that knowledge. The sages composed it, wrote it. For example, Ramayana was written by Valmiki. Similarly, Mahabharata was written by Veda Vyas. Like that. Did you understand? So this is what it is. We'll come back. We'll come to that when we do Vedic literature. We'll come back here. So here, the early part of the Vedic literature, when the Aryans came into India, we have only one book which gives information about the early life of the Aryans. That is the Rig Veda. Hence, this period is also called Rig Vedic period. And the Aryans lived for 500 years between two rivers, Satluj in the west and Yamuna in the east. So for your convenience, look here on your screen. For your convenience, I have made a chart like this. I made a drawing like this. This is Sindhu on your screen. This is Sindhu, Satudri, Yamuna, and Ganga. And the Aryans stayed for the first 500 years between the Satluj in the west and Yamuna in the east. That is called Sapta Sindhu region, the land of seven rivers. Otherwise, where is Satluj and Yamuna? You can see here on the real map. It is something like this. Satluj is here. Where is Satluj? Sutudri. You can see Satluj is here. Yamuna is here, right? And they lived for the first 500 years between these two rivers. That is the Satluj in the west and Yamuna in the east. Did you understand here? And this period is called Rig Vedic period. So, what was the geographical knowledge of the Rig Vedic Aryans when they came into India? Now, please understand, in the Rig Veda, we have mention of the Himalayas. Himalayas are mentioned. So that means the Aryans were familiar with the Himalayan mountains. And along with the Himalayas, we have some peaks mentioned, Himalayan peaks like Mujavant, Silament, Arjika. These are the names we find in the Rig Veda. They are names of some peaks in the Himalayas. So Aryans were familiar with the Himalayas. This is number one. Number two is, so here they were familiar with the Himalayas. I'll use another page here, fresh page. So what was the geographical knowledge of Rig Vedic Aryans when they came into the country? Geographical knowledge. First of all, they knew about Himalayas. They knew about the Himalayas and some of its peaks like Mujavant, Silament, Arjika, etc. Then there is a word called Samudra. Understand this. There is a word called Samudra in the Rig Veda, but here Samudra did not denote sea or ocean. It only referred to a confluence of rivers. What's a confluence? A sangama of rivers, where two or more rivers meet. So Samudra did not denote the ocean. That means Aryans had not seen the three oceans, the Arabian Sea, the Bay of Bengal, and the Indian Ocean. They had not gone up till there. They were mostly confined to the Sapta Sindhu region. But in the Rig Veda, we have a word called Samudra, and it here refers to a confluence of rivers, a meeting point of two or more rivers. Okay, Sangama of rivers, right? Then there is no reference to the Thar desert. So that means in Rajasthan we have a desert or the Thar desert. So the Aryans were not familiar with any desert because they had not gone that side. There's only one reference to the Ganga. Only one time Ganga is mentioned. Ganga river is mentioned. So that means to say that Aryans were, they knew about the Ganga, but not many people were living on the banks of the Ganga. They knew about the Ganga, but not many people were living on the banks of the Ganga. So they were mostly living in the Sapta Sindhu region. Are you there with me? This is the geographical knowledge of Rig Vedic Aryans. On your screen, see here on your screen, the Vedic people never went beyond the Yamuna in the east. The land between the Satluj in the west and Yamuna in the east is called Sapta Sindhu region. So they were living in this area between the Satluj in the west and Yamuna in the east. And that's called Sapta Sindhu region, right? Then the Vedas mention the Nadi Stuti, that is both the western and the eastern tributaries of the Indus. They are mentioned in the Rig Veda. What are the western tributaries of the Indus which flow in Afghanistan? Western tributaries of the Indus which flow in Afghanistan. They are these. You can see here, I've already discussed this. Gomal, Gomti, Kuba, Kabul River, Suvastu, Swat River, Krumu, Kurram River. So these are the western tributaries of the Indus which flow in Afghanistan. That is mentioned in the Rig Veda. Similarly, the eastern tributaries of the Indus flow in India and Pakistan. So, what are the eastern tributaries of the Indus which flow in India and Pakistan? These. Remember these, along with their modern names: Vitastha, Jhelum, Asikini, Chanab, Purushni, Ravi, Vipasa, Bias, Satluj, Satudri. Then Saraswati is also mentioned. The river Saraswati is also mentioned. And and interestingly, Zendavesta also called Saraswati as Harkavati. So Saraswati is called by different names: Saptati, Sindhu Mata, Naditame, Devitame, Ambitame, etc. So this is supposedly the Saraswati river. Then Max Muller is of the opinion or was of the opinion that the Sapta Sindhu system consists of Indus, its five eastern tributaries, and the Saraswati. Himalayas are mentioned, I told you, along with some of its peaks like Mujamant, Silament, Arjika. The word Samudra meant only a confluence of rivers, meeting point of two or more rivers, Sangama of rivers. It they did not have knowledge of the ocean. And the Vedic people also did not know about desert. They also did not know about desert. This is the geographical knowledge of Rig Vedic Aryans. Are you there with me? Jaswant, see, this is what we come to know from the Rig Veda. Jaswant, this is This is what historians have deduced from the Rig Veda. This is the interpretation of the Rig Veda. So I told you we hardly have any archaeological sources for a study of this period. Whatever information we have about this period is directly from the Vedic literature. And from whatever is mentioned in the Rig Veda, we have deduced, historians have deduced this information. Are you there with me, Jaswant? So logically, Jaswant is asking, even Harappan people knew about the sea. How were the Aryans not knowing about them? So I just now told you, answer that question, Jaswant. This is what is being deduced from the Rig Veda. So this is the mythical Hemalata. So where you have the Sangam, Allahabad Sangam of Ganga Yamuna, the Saraswati river is supposed to be flowing underneath that. That's what folklore says. But then we have reference to the river Saraswati mentioned in the Rig Veda. Right? Saraswati is mentioned in the Rig Veda. Deepshika is asking script of Vedas. Deepshika, understand this. During the Vedic period, the Aryans they were not literate. So you might think, how can this be? But this is the truth. This is what historians have told us. Harappans were literate; they could read and write. We know that they had a script. But during the Vedic period, the Vedic knowledge of the Vedas was transmitted orally. So it was transmitted orally. They had a brilliant system of memorizing things called Sutra style. So that is condensed prose style intended for memorization. Sutra style, condensed prose style intended for memorization. So during the Vedic period, people had no knowledge of writing. You can say the Aryans were illiterate people. But then whatever knowledge they had was transmitted orally through word of mouth. Right? So much later, the knowledge of the Vedas were written down. Around 700 BC, the knowledge of the Vedas were written down. Until then, it was transmitted orally. So therefore, Vedic Aryans had no script. Deepshika, did you get me? Maybe, Bhimare, maybe, right? So there's no reference to the desert in the Vedic literature. So they had not gone that side, even if it was there. Okay, now we'll come back here. This is the geographical knowledge of Rig Vedic Aryans. Are you clear? Bhimare, Deepshika, Jaswant, Hemlata. Can I move on? So this is the geographical knowledge of Rig Vedic Aryans. Now let us come to the polity, Rig Vedic polity. Let us come to the Rig Vedic polity. Now I'll use a page. We'll discuss the PPT in some time. Let us talk about the Rig Vedic polity. How was their political structure? How was the political structure of the Vedic Aryans when they came into the country? Now, please understand. I don't know Bimre. Now let us talk about Vedic polity. I'm sure you people have a lot of questions, doubts, but this is what is the interpretation given by historians in the standard history textbooks. Right? So we'll come back here. The Aryans were divided into a number of tribes. Understand this? Aryans were divided into a number of tribes. The Aryans were divided into a number of tribes. Every tribe was headed by a leader. So every tribe had a leader. And this leader was elected. This leader was elected by the members of the tribe. So they were divided into a number of tribes. Every tribe was headed by a leader. And this leader was generally an experienced man called Pramukha. Understand this? Pramukha or Jeshta. So he was an experienced man. So the leader of the tribe was an experienced man who was also known as Pramukha or Jeshta, experienced man, not necessarily old man, but a middle-aged man with a lot of experience. And this man, this tribal head, was elected. So he took the title of Rajan. He was called Rajan. So Rajan was the head of the tribe. He was elected, right? So what do we see here? We see democratic elements in a tribal polity. We see democratic elements in a tribal polity because the tribal chief was elected. Democratic elements in a tribe, in a tribal polity. So I said Aryans were divided into a number of tribes. Every tribe was headed by a leader who was an experienced man, also called Pramukha or Jeshta, and he took the title of Rajan. He took the title of Rajan. So, and since he was elected, we see democratic elements in a tribal polity. What was the main duty of the Rajan? What was the main duty of the Rajan? Number one was to protect the tribe. To protect the tribe and its cattle wealth. And cattle wealth. And its cattle wealth. The main duty of the Rajan was to protect the tribe and its cattle wealth. And he prayed to gods for Praja Pashudhana. Understand this? His duty was to protect the tribe and its cattle wealth. And on behalf of the tribe, the Rajan prayed to gods. Understand this? He prayed to gods for Praja. Praja, that is mainly sons. If children are born, let more sons be born. So mainly sons, Praja. Pashu, that is cattle, and Dhana, wealth. Praja, Pashu, Dhana. So his duty was to protect the tribe and its cattle wealth, and he prayed to God for Praja. Praja is mainly sons, Pashu is cattle, and Dhana is wealth. Now the question is, why did the Rajan pray to gods to bestow more sons on the tribe, not daughters? Not that they hated daughters, but he wanted more sons to be born to the members of the tribe, not daughters. What is the reason for that? Very interesting. Army, warrior, wars, okay. Next generation king, workforce. Okay. No, wait. Working capacity to graze cattle, heredity. Okay, good try. Somewhere near the truth, some of you who have said wars, etc. Now look here. Why did he pray to gods to have more, to bestow more sons upon the members of the tribe? Because, understand this, not that he was a hater of daughters or females. Here they were Banjaras. The Aryans were pastoralists, nomads. They were going from one place to another place. They were nomads in search of fresh pastures. What was their main source of wealth? Cattle. Cattle was their main source of wealth. So wherever there's grassland, they will stay there for some time. After some time, when the grassland starts getting depleted, what would they do? They will go in along with their cattle in search of fresh pastures. So they were nomadic in nature, going from one place to another place. They will hardly stay in a particular place for maybe 3 months or 2-3 months, not more than that. Now, when they are going away from one place to another place, along with their family, along with their children, along with their cattle, another tribe might attack this tribe. So let us say there's an Aryan tribe called A, and they are migrating. And another Aryan tribe called B might attack this tribe called A. They might try to harm their children, steal their women, steal their cattle. Now, if there are more males in the tribe, they would be in a better position to defend themselves. And that is the reason why the Rajan prayed to gods for more sons to be bestowed upon the tribe. Did you understand? Not for safety affairs, that is one way of looking at it, but the main reason is this. Now, unfortunately, this particular aspect has got distorted in our history. Aryans prayed for sons for some other reason. The reason is this, whatever we have just now seen. But then, unfortunately, in our history, the reason for having sons has got distorted, right? So, also leading to female infanticide, etc. Aryans wanted sons for this reason because they'll be in a better position to defend themselves. Right, now we'll come back here. So he prayed to gods for Praja, Pashudhana. Now, the bureaucracy was very, very simple during this period. Understand this? The bureaucracy was very simple during this period. So there were some officers who assisted the Rajan in the discharge of his duties. There were some officers, so bureaucracy was very simple during this period. So the Rajan was assisted by a few officers, like for example, Purohit. This Purohit was the priest, as you all know. So his position was next to that of the Rajan. So he was assisted by a Purohit, the Rajan. Then we have a Senapati, commander, Senapati. Vrajapati. Vrajapati was in charge of pasture lands, grasslands, an officer in charge of grasslands, Prajapati. Then Jiva Gribha or Ugra. He was the police official. Then Spasa was the spy. Duta was a messenger, etc. So these are some of the officers or officials who assisted the Rajan in the discharge of his duties. Purohita, Senapati, Vrajapati, Jivagriba, Spasa, Duta, etc. Now, what was the main source of income for the Rajan? What was the main source of income for the Rajan? The main source of income for the Rajan was Bali. Understand this. What is Bali? Voluntary offering. Voluntary offering. And number two, war. What is Bali? Voluntary offering. Let us say there's a person who has 10 jackfruits in his garden. 10 jackfruits are growing in his garden, and he feels like plucking two and giving it to the Rajan. So he will pluck two and give it to the Rajan. That is his wish. So the Rajan cannot say, I saw 10 jackfruits in your garden and you're only bringing two. No, it was a purely voluntary offering. That's called Bali. So main source of income for the Rajan was Bali, voluntary offering, and war booty. War booty. One tribe will go to war against another tribe, and let us say the other tribe is defeated. One tribe will go to war against another tribe, and let us say the adversary is defeated. They will loot everything and bring from the other tribe. That is, whichever tribe is defeated, they loot everything from that tribe and bring it and distribute it equally amongst the members of the tribe. So the main source of income for the Rajan was Bali and war booty. Clear till here, all of you? Yeah, bureaucracy is officials who assisted the Rajan. Arun, yeah, it is bureaucracy. Now use another page. Clear. Now look here. Family, understand this. Family was the basis of the political organization. Family was the basis of the political organization called Kula. So Kula is a family or Griha or Griha. Who was the head of the family? Kulapati, father. Father was the head of the family called Kulapati or Grihapati. So family was the basis of the war booty is one tribe goes to war against another tribe, Rajan. One tribe will go to war against another tribe. And let's say the other tribe is defeated. They will loot and plunder everything from the other tribe and bring it. That is called war booty. And that is distributed amongst the members of the tribe. Clear, Roshan? Okay, now look here. Family was the basis of the political organization. So family was called Kula or Griha, headed by the father, Kulapati or Grihapati. When a group of families came together, understand this? When a group of families or Kulas came together, we have a village, Gram. That is the case even nowadays, isn't it? In a village, you have a number of hundreds of families. So when families come together, hundreds of them, you will get a village. Tens and hundreds of it. So a group of Kulas will form a Gram, headed by a Gramani. Head of the Gram is the Gramani. Gramani. A group of Gram, when they came together, formed a Vish under Vispati. A group of Gram, when they came together, formed a Vish under a Vispati. And when a group of Vish came together, we have a tribe or a Jana. Jana was the tribe headed by the Rajan. So this is how the tribal polity was structured. Kula was the basis of the political organization headed by the Kulapati, father. A group of Kulas will form a Gram under a Gramani. A group of Gram will form a Vis under a Vispati. And a group of Vis will form a Jana or a tribe under the Rajan. Clear? Now we are talking about tribal polity, Ankush. How can there be IAS officers? How can these ranks be IAS officers? There's no exam written, okay? There's no exam written. There was no UPSC those days. So how can you call them as IAS officers? Okay, are you clear till here? Deepshika, it's not social structure. We'll talk about the society in some time. Just hold on. Now, look here on your screen. Understand this. Now, we have seen this. The Rajan was elected, isn't it? The Rajan was elected by the tribe. There were 4 assemblies which curtailed the powers of the Rajan. There were 4 assemblies. I'll use another color. There were 4 assemblies which curtailed the powers of the Rajan. That is, Rajan could not do whatever he wanted. So there were some assemblies which curtailed the powers of the Rajan. What are the 4 assemblies which control the powers of the Rajan? Number 1, Sabha. Sabha. Number 2, Samiti. Number 3, Vidhata. Number 4, Gana. Sabha, Samiti, Vidhata, Gana. Sabha. And what is a Sabha? It was a council of tribal elders. It was a council of tribal elders. Council of tribal elders. Right? Now look here. So all the elderly people in the tribe were automatically members of the Sabha. All the elderly people in the tribe were already automatically members of the Sabha. So it was a council of tribal elders. Women were given special representation in the Sabha. So women were also members of the Sabha. What was the main duty of the Sabha? Understand this. Now, if any common problem was bothering the tribe, so let us say the tribe is facing a common problem. There's water shortage. Let's say there's water shortage, or some disease is spreading amongst the members of the tribe, or let us say some other tribe is going. They have got information that a rival tribe is planning to attack this tribe. So what will happen? The members of the Sabha will call for a meeting. So all the members of the Sabha will join in a meeting, and even the Rajan will participate in this meeting. And then the Rajan will put forth the problem before the Sabha members. They'll say, this is the problem facing the tribe. What is the solution you have in your mind? Please suggest a solution. So everybody will think and then they'll start making suggestions. Okay, so let us say um, there are 100 members in the Sabha, and out of the 100 members, let us say they have got about 10 suggestions. 10 suggestions. And somebody among these 10 somebody called A has made a brilliant suggestion. Everybody, most of the members of the Sabha feel that whatever A has suggested, we all should follow that. We should follow this method or this particular, um, you know, um, whatever suggestion is given by A is the most practical solution for the problem. Let us follow the suggestion of A. And majority of the members decide to follow the suggestion made by A. That is called Narishta. Narishta. What is Narishta? A resolution of many which cannot be overruled. That is, once a decision has been made and majority of the members are going to follow that decision, then everybody in the tribe is bound by the decision. That is called Narishta. Even the Rajan. The Rajan might have a different opinion as to how to solve the problem. But if, let us say, out of the Sabha members, 80-90% of them feel that whatever A has suggested, whatever this person called A has suggested, we should blindly follow that suggestion and implement that suggestion, then even the Rajan is bound by that. So majority decision wins. And that is called Narishta. A resolution of many which cannot be overruled. Did you understand? Clear? Okay. This is Sabha. Okay, number 2. Then we have Samiti. Did you understand? Narishta, resolution of many which cannot be overruled. Then Samiti. What was the duty of the Samiti? The duty of the Samiti was to elect the Rajan. So all the members of the tribe were automatically members of the Samiti. All members of the tribe were automatically members of the Samiti. Main duty of the Samiti was to elect the Rajan. Elect the Rajan. That was the main duty of the Samiti. Today they have, so this year, let us say they have elected a person called A as their leader. Next year B, next year C. Fourth year again they have elected A. It's up to the Samiti. So the main duty of the Samiti was to elect the Rajan. And all members of the tribe were automatically members of the Samiti. This is number second assembly. Then we come to the third assembly, Vidhata. Among the four assemblies, the oldest was the Vidhata. This was the oldest of the four assemblies. And what was the main duty of the Vidhata? Redistribution of war booty. Redistribution of war booty. I told you, one tribe will go to war against another tribe. And let's say the rival tribe is defeated. They will loot and plunder everything from the rival tribe and bring it. And it is equally distributed amongst the members of the tribe. That duty was that of the Vidhata. Redistribution of war booty. Main duty of the Vidhata. And again, women were given special representation in the Vidhata. So, apart from Sabha, in which women were allowed, even in the Vidhata, women were allowed. So, women were given special representation in the Sabha as well as Vidhata. So, Vidhata was the oldest of the tribal assemblies. Its main duty was redistribution of war booty, and women were given special representation in the Vidhata. And the last assembly was the Gana. The last assembly was the Gana. What was this Gana? No, Sakshi, I told you, no Samiti, women were not given, they were not part of the Samiti. Women were not part of the Samiti, they were not given the right to vote also. Only the male members voted. So Sabha, only in the Sabha and Vidhata, women were there. Bhimare, oldest is not older members. I said among the four assemblies, the oldest assembly was Vidhata. Now, don't put words in my mouth, Bhimre. I said among the four assemblies, the oldest was Vidhata. I did not say it had the oldest members. If it was that was the case, I would have told you. It had the oldest members. All old people were members of Vidhata. I never said that. Right? So this is Vidhata. Then Gana. Gana, it was more of a cultural assembly. Understand this? It was more of a cultural assembly. Very less information is there about the Gana. It was more of a cultural assembly, organizing feast, dancing, festivals, etc. Organizing feasts, festivals, dancing, etc. That was the work of the Gana. Yeah, oldest is Vidhata. Yes, Ankush, oldest of the assembly was supposedly Vidhata. So Sabha, Samiti, Vidhata, Gana, these are the four assemblies which curtailed the powers of the Rajan. Rajan was elected and he could not do whatever he wanted. These four assemblies curtailed his powers. Are you there with me? Okay, I'll move on. Now, clear, all of you? Then we'll come back and discuss the PPT. Just hold on. We'll come back and discuss the PPT. You just hold on. Then now look here. The Aryans, I told you, were divided into a number of tribes. So, which were the two most important Aryan tribes? So, which were the Aryan tribes during this period? Aryans, we have told you, they were divided into a number of tribes. Two most important Aryan tribes during this period were the Bharatas. Understand this? Bharatas and Purus. These are the two most important Aryan tribes, Bharatas and Purus, and they were always fighting against each other. Bharata tribe and Puru tribe. Bharata and Puru tribe. Okay, Bharata tribe and Puru tribe always fighting against each other. So the Aryans fought amongst themselves. The Aryans fought amongst themselves. Bharata tribe versus Puru tribe. And the Aryans also fought against non-Aryans. Understand this. Who are the non-Aryans? The Aryans fought amongst themselves. They also fought against non-Aryans. Who are these non-Aryans? Number one, the Sioux. The Aryans fought against the Sioux. Dasas and Panis. These are the non-Aryans. The Sioux, Dasas and Panis. Now please understand the meaning of these terms. The Sioux, Dasas, Panis. Who are the Dasyus? Dasyus were supposedly the original inhabitants. Original inhabitants of the Sapta Sindhu region. Original inhabitants of the Sapta Sindhu region. Of, I'll write SS region, Sapta Sindhu region. These might have been the remnants of the Harappans. I said may have been. They might have been the remnants of the Harappans. See, Harappans had abandoned those areas and gone away 500 years back. And only after a gap of 500 years, Aryans came into the Sapta Sindhu region and settled down there. But some people, some of the Harappans may be still living there. So the Dasyus were the original inhabitants of the Sapta Sindhu region and may have been the remnants of the Harappans. Now, look here. The Aryans were very, very proud of their color. Aryans were very, very proud of their color. And they looked down upon the Dasyus because the Dasyus were dark skinned. Understand this. The Dasyus were, they look different from that of the Aryans. They look different from the Aryans. The Dasyus, they were Krishnatwach. Understand this. Krishnatwach. Anasa. Phallus worshippers. In the Rig Veda, we have some terms where the Aryans are seen looking down upon the Dasyus. The Aryans were very proud of their color. They were tall, they were fair, blonde hair, etc. And the people who were living in the Sapta Sindhu region, the Dasyus, had a dark skin. So they were Krishnatwach or dark skin. Anasa, snub nose. That is, they had a flat nose. They had curly hair, many of them, and they were phallus worshippers. And looking at them, the Aryans, looking at the way they looked, the Aryans who were very, very proud of their color, kept them away. Kept them away. That's why there's a shloka in the Rig Veda which says, those whose deity be phallus, not penetrate our sanctuary. These people worship the phallus, male sexual organ. So therefore keep them away. Let them not come near us. And therefore, and also they are looked on because of their color, Krishna Twach, Anasa, etc. This is a legacy left behind by the Aryans. I don't know whether how many of you will agree here, but then we Indians are racist. We have a fascination for the fair skin. Look at our movies. Look at our advertisements on TV and in movies. Fair and lovely. Okay, look at the marriage columns, matrimonial columns in newspapers, Sunday newspapers. Wanted thin, slim, fair girl. However dark a fellow is, he wants one fair girl. Thin, slim, fair girl. Fair and lovely. And look at the advertisements. Even the TV serials, irrespective of what language, which part of India you come. Look at our heroes in the TV serials, also in the movies. They're shown as fair. Even the heroines are shown as fair. That is not our natural color. But then the colored, the fair person is preferred. Do you agree with me? Yeah. So, and then the villain has to be bad looking. Bad looking. He must be ugly, and he is inevitably he has to be dark. Villain. He might be the sweetest chap on this earth, but then he's shown in a particular manner. And look, in the conventional setup. If you look at the 50s, 60s, 70s movies, he's shown with the bald head, dark. Well built, and smoking, drinking. So he has to be a bad person, and also he should be dark in color. The hero is shown fair, glowing with as if he's done facial, etc. Like that. Even look at the heroines also. Look at our heroines; they're shown fair. And even if she's she's on the darker side, she may be very beautiful with very good features. She will be the heroine's friend. She cannot be the main cast because she's dark. She doesn't have the color. So we Indians are racist, and this is a legacy left behind by the Aryans. So one legacy is fascination for sons. The Aryans used to prefer wanting sons for a separate reason, for safety purpose. We have seen that. But then there's a in our country there's a desire for having, things are changing now, but still in traditional families, even after having, let us say, 2 3 daughters, the parents want to have a son, as if he is Chandragupta Maurya or Ashoka, who wants a successor to the throne. So the parents want one son, right, to so-called carry forward the lineage and all that. So that is there, and in states like Haryana, we have a skewed sex ratio. More number of males are there, very less females because of the history of female infanticide. So all these are there. It's part of the social issues topic which you study as UPSC students. But this is a legacy left behind by the Aryans, right? And not necessarily, Devyani. Wasn't fair skin obsession a legacy left by the British and colonial mindset? No, no. So it was never, it was even there before. I'll tell you, women have, when they get pregnant, they have that kesar, it's available in Kashmir, pretty costly. I believe if you have the kesar, the baby will be born fair. So that is a belief. And women are, given a lot of kesar. Even my wife, was having kesar. I asked her, what is the reason? And she told me that the baby will be born fairer. So logically speaking, if that was the case, then I told my wife that Africans, they would have eaten kgs of kesar just to get a fair baby, if that was the case. Anyway, jokes apart, that's how it is. Now, do you agree with me? We are a very funny society. We follow all these things. Krishna will come back to that later. Yeah. So Kesar is this is a legacy left behind by the Aryans. So Aryans fought against Dasyus. Then Dasas. Who are the Dasas? Dasas are the earlier branch of Aryans. Understand this. Dasas are the earlier branch of Aryans. Earlier branch of Aryans. Um, See, foreigners are very happy with our skin, the blonde people, because they have freckles on their skin. They have to put cream and do bathing and all that, and that's a big headache for them. Ours is, almost nil. Maintenance is nil, and they are fascinated with our skin. But we, Indians, most of us, we are fascinated with the goras. So many of us, right? So that's how it is. Our society is peculiar. We'll come back here. So observe all these things. It's interesting, and where what is the legacy left behind by the Aryans? Yeah. So Dasas, who are the Dasas? Earlier branch of Aryans. Understand this. We'll come back here. Come back here from the racist topic we have discussed about race and all that. Now Dasas, earlier branch of Aryans. Who are these earlier branch of Aryans? So see, some people were already living in the Sapta Sindhu region. Some Aryans were already living here. Then after, let us say, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, they see another batch of Aryans approaching. Another group of Aryans are approaching the Sapta Sindhu region. And these people who are already living in the Sapta Sindhu region object because they have to share the limited resources of the Sapta Sindhu region with the new arrivals. So Dasas are the earlier branch of Aryans with whom the Aryans fought. Okay, that is one thing. And Panis were supposedly non-Aryan, non-sacrificial. Non-Aryan, non-sacrificial, Panis. So they were supposedly even cattle lifters. They were supposedly cattle lifters. Non-Aryan, non-sacrificial cattle lifters. Kumar is saying, can we say, let us talk, let us not have this discussion about fair people, but that's the observation, Kumar. Can we say fair people generally belong to well-off families? That's why we are obsessed with fair and dark-skinned people are supposedly from poor background. Nothing like that. Who told you this? Poor people are dark and rich people are fair. Not necessarily. No, that's not true. But then what I can add is, Kumar, maybe what you're trying to tell is, I'll tell you how it is. But anyway, let me not talk about this. We have just non-sacrificial is not performing sacrifices. So I don't see. The thing is, see, Kumar, to answer your query, see, I would not want to answer this actually, Kumar, because we'll be going out of the topic. We'll be digressing from the topic. So let it rest there. Maybe some other you mail me. You mail me. We'll discuss. Right? I'll give you my answer. You may mail whatever query you have about fair skin. We'll talk about it. I will come back here. Yeah, Hemalata has answered your question. We'll come back here. So Pani is non-Aryan. They were supposedly non-Aryans, non-sacrificial. That is, they were not performing any sacrifices, and they were cattle lifters. So Aryans fought amongst themselves, also fought against non-Aryans. Remember the non-Aryans: Dasyus, Dasas, Panis. Then the most important battle mentioned in the Rig Veda is the Dasaragnya. Understand this? Dasaragnya. 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 This is called Battle of 10 Kings. Battle of 10 Kings. Dasaragnya. Battle of 10 Kings. Now, what is this Battle of 10 Kings? This is mentioned in Mandala 7 of the Rig Veda. Mandala means book. Book 7. Book or Mandala 7 of the Rig Veda mentions about this battle. Mandala 7 of the Rig Veda. Battle of 10 Kings. Now, I'll tell you the story. Listen, very simple. This Battle of 10 Kings story is, there was a tribe, Bharata tribe. There was a tribe, as you all know, the Aryan tribe called Bharata tribe. And who was the head of the Bharata tribe? His name was Sudas. He was the Rajan, Sudas. I'll use another color, Sudas. So Sudas was the head of the Bharata tribe. Sudas. And Sudas had a Purohit under him. Sudas had a Purohit, a preceptor, religious guru under him. His name was Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra. He was his Purohit, a religious guru. Now, what happened is, I believe Sudas came to know about another Purohit who was much more qualified than Vishwamitra. His name was Vashishta. So what happened is, Sudas dismissed Vishwamitra. He removed Vishwamitra from his job of a Purohit and appointed Vashishta. So Vashishta became the new Purohit of Sudas. And this angered Vishwamitra because his ego was hurt. He had been removed from the job by Sudas. So what Vishwamitra did is, he went to 10 kings and filled up their ears against Sudas. So he filled up the ears of 10 kings against Sudas, and he formed a confederation. So 10 kings, confederation of 10 kings were formed by Vishwamitra. So all these 10 kings formed a confederation of 10 kings. And who was the leader of these 10 kings? Purukutsa of the Puru tribe. So you have a tribe called Puru tribe, and the leader of the Puru tribe was Purukutsa. Purukutsa. He was the head of this Puru tribe. And he was made the leader of these 10 kings. And these 10 kings declared war against Sudas. This is called Battle of 10 Kings. Fought between the Bharata tribe headed by Sudas versus a confederation of 10 kings led by Purukutsa of the Puru tribe. Did you understand? This is called the Battle of 10 Kings. On what? On the bank of which river this particular battle was fought? On the banks of the river Parushni. On the banks of the river Parushni or Ravi. On the banks of the river Parushni or Ravi, this particular battle took place. What was the consequence of this battle? In this battle, Sudas alone defeated all the 10 kings. All these 10 kings were defeated by Sudas. This is called the Dasaragnya, Battle of 10 Kings, mentioned in Mandala 7 or Book 7 of the Rig Veda. Did you understand? Again, repeat. So there was a tribe called Bharata tribe, headed by Sudas. He was the Rajan of the Bharata tribe. He had a Purohita or a religious preceptor, guru called Vishwamitra. So Sudas dismissed Vishwamitra and appointed another qualified, a much more qualified person called Vashishta in the place of Vishwamitra. So this angered Vishwamitra. He went and filled up the ears of 10 kings against Sudas, formed a confederation of 10 kings, and appointed Purukutsa as the leader of these 10 kings. And these 10 kings declared war against Sudas. In the battle of 10 kings, which was fought on the banks of the river Ravi or Purushni, Sudas single-handedly defeated all these 10 kings. This is called Battle of 10 Kings. Clear? Yeah, Vashishta and Vishwamitra are the same mentioned in the epics. Probably. Kumari, you please mail me, whatever is your query, you mail me. I will forward it to the concerned department. That's what I can promise you. Yeah? That's what I can promise you. This is known as the Battle of 10 Kings. So yeah, Sudas won it. Then Nancy, Sudas single-handedly defeated all the 10 kings. Yeah. Mail ID, I'll give you. This is my mail ID, vijay.kumar, Vijay .kumar @ byju's.com. byju's.com. This is my mail ID, mail address. Ram, those things are decided, are dealt with by a separate department, so I would not know about it. So please mail me. I'll forward it to the concerned team or department. Okay. So this is about the Rigvedic polity. Are you there with me? Let us discuss the Rigvedic polity here. Come back here. Look here on your screen. On your screen, administration was tribal in nature. It was a tribal polity based on democratic principles. So every tribe was headed by an elderly person called Pramukha or Jeshta, who took the title of Rajan. I told you, he took the title of Rajan. What was the duty of the Rajan? To protect the tribe and its cattle wealth. So he protected the tribe and its cattle wealth. And he waged wars to protect the cattle. Now he prayed to gods for dhana, wealth, praja, mainly sons, and pashu, cattle. So he prayed to gods for dhana, praja, pashu, dhana, mainly sons, praja, right? And he took steps to improve the pasture lands, grasslands. Bureaucracy was very simple during this period. So the Rajan was assisted by a few officers. Purohit was the priest, Senapati was a commander, Vrajapati in charge of pasture lands, grasslands, right? Pasture lands. Then Gramani was the head of a gram or a village. Purapati in charge of forts, mud forts. Jivagriba or Ugra in charge of law and order police official. Spasa was the spy. Duta was the messenger. So there was no existence of a regular taxation system. What was the chief source of income for the Rajan? His main source of income was Bali. What is Bali? Voluntary offering. I gave the example of jackfruit. So somebody has grown jackfruit in his garden. He wants to give 2 to the Rajan. He can give it. That is Bali, voluntary offering. And war booty. One tribe will go to war against another tribe, and the other tribe is defeated. They will loot and plunder everything and bring it. That's called war booty. And that is equally distributed amongst the members of the tribe. Then family was the basis of the political organization called Kula, headed by the Kulapati or Grihabati. So father was the head of the family. A group of Kulas will form a Gram. I told you, put an arrow mark like that. A group of Kulas will form a Gram under a Gramani, village headman. A group of Gram will form a Vish under a Vishpati. And a group of Vish will form a Jana or a tribe under the Rajan, the tribal chief. Then there is no reference to the Janapada. What is Janapada? Territory. The concept of a territory was not there. Why? Why concept of a territory was not there? Okay. There's no reference to the Janapada or territory. Why? Because they were nomads. Very, very good, Brajnech. They were nomads. They were not living in one particular boundary or territory. Then the Rajan's powers were curtailed by tribal assemblies. What are the four assemblies? Sabha was one. Sabha, Samiti, Vidatagana. So what was the duty of the Sabha? It was a council of tribal elders. Then special representation was given to women in the Sabha. And it took a majority decision which was bound by binding on the members of the tribe. That's called Narishta. Sabha is referred to as Narishta, resolution of many which cannot be overruled or cannot be broken. So whatever decision the Sabha took, majority decision, that was binding on the members of the tribe, and that is called Narishta. Samiti, General Assembly of the tribe. Main duty of the Samiti, elect the Rajan. Then Vidata, oldest of the lot. Most important assembly, special representation was given to women. Main duty, redistribution of war booty. Main duty was redistribution of war booty. So Vidata was the oldest of the four assemblies. Oldest of the four. Oldest of the four assemblies. And lastly, Gana. So it was more of a cultural assembly, organizing feasts, festivals, dance, etc. Very less information is there about Gana. Then we've seen this. Aryans were divided into a number of tribes. Two of the most important Aryan tribes during this period were Bharata tribe and Puru tribe. These are the two most important tribes. Bharatas dominated the region between Yamuna and Saraswati. And then Purus were the neighbors of Bharatas, and they were always fighting against each other. So Bharatas and Purus dominated Haryana and Western UP. Present regions of Haryana and Western UP, they dominated, and they were always fighting against each other, Bharatas and Purus. So the Aryans fought amongst themselves, and they also fought against non-Aryans. So who are the non-Aryan tribes? The Sioux, original inhabitants. Dasas, earlier branch of Aryans, and Panis. So the Sioux were the original inhabitants of the Sapta Sindhu region. So they looked dark in color. They were phallus worshippers. They had a snub nose or a flat nose. And the Aryans, who were very, very proud of their color, looked down upon the dark-skinned Dasyus. Dasas were the earlier branch of Aryans. And Panis were non-Aryan, non-sacrificial, cattle lifters. They were supposedly cattle lifters, non-sacrificial, and non-Aryans. Okay. Then the most important battle mentioned in the Rig Veda is the Dasaragnya, Battle of 10 Kings, mentioned in Mandala 7 of the Rig Veda, Book 7 of the Rig Veda. So this was fought between the Bharata chief Sudas against a confederation of 10 kings headed by Purukutsa of the Puru tribe. This was fought on the banks of which river? River Purushni. And in this battle, Sudas emerged victorious. Are you there with me? I told you Deepshika, I told you, you have some Aryans. So here, when the Aryans came from Central Asia into the Sapta Sindhu region, they did not come en masse. It was not a mass migration. They came in phases. They came in batches, in groups they came. So some people were already living in the Sapta Sindhu region. The Aryans, earlier branch of Aryans, but they were already living there. And when you have the new arrivals coming in into the Sapta Sindhu region, these Aryans objected. As I told you, they had to share the limited resources of the Sapta Sindhu region. So they fought against the new arrivals. Did you get me, Deepshika? Clear? They fought against the new arrivals. That is what is it? Okay. So what are the causes for the Battle of 10 Kings? Conflict over the sharing of the waters of the river Ravi, cattle, and immediate cause is dispute between the Purohitas. So immediate reason for the Battle of 10 Kings is dismissal of Vishwamitra and appointment of Vasishtha. That was the main reason for this Battle of 10 Kings. Apart from cattle and conflict over the shading of the river waters of the river Ravi. These are the three main reasons for the Battle of 10 Kings. So this is about Rig Vedic polity. Now, can we take a break now of 15 minutes, or you want to go for another 10 minutes and then take a break? Hello? It is now 7:50. We can take a break and come back and start at 7:05. Okay, 10 minutes break is enough. Shailaja has to go for worship. Okay, we'll take a 15 minutes break and come back. So 7:05, we meet at 7:05. 7:05. 15 minutes break. 10 minutes, Bhimray wants 10 minutes. What about 10 minutes? Is it fine? 10 minutes break? Okay, fine. So carry on. We'll have a 15 minutes break. Most of the people don't want 10 minutes, Bhimray. So 15 minutes. So 5 minutes extra. Go ahead. For 7:05 we meet. It is 6:50 now. We meet sharply at 7:05. Carry on. Good evening. Can we continue? Good evening. 15 minutes up. Yeah, thank you, Ankush. Can we continue? Right. So we have discussed the geographical knowledge of Rigvedic Aryans and their political structure. Let us come to society, economy, and religion. So next aspect is society. How was the Rigvedic society? Understand this on your screen. How was the Rigvedic society? Basically, it was a patriarchal society. Understand this? It was a patriarchal society. It was a patriarchal society. Secondly, it was tribal and egalitarian. It was tribal and egalitarian. What is egalitarian? Everybody was equal in the society. It was a patriarchal society. Father was the head of the house. And it was a tribal and egalitarian society. What is the meaning of egalitarian? Everybody was equal in the society. Why everybody was equal in the society? Why everybody was equal in the society? Because the concept of caste had not come into existence. Caste was absent. Concept of caste was not there. So therefore, everybody was equal in the society. It was a tribal and egalitarian society. Okay. Now, it was a class divided society wherein there was professional mobility. It was a class divided society wherein there was professional mobility. There was professional mobility. So, in other words, the society was based on occupational division. So, it was a class divided society wherein there was professional mobility. There were three varnas. There were three varnas basically. Number one, Brahmana. Brahmana. So he was a priest or a teacher. He was a priest or a teacher. Number two, Rajanya. This is the word in the Rig Veda. Rajanya. It's not Kshatriya. There's no word called Kshatriya in the Rig Veda. It is Rajanya. But then sometimes the word Kshatriya is also used. So Rajanya, warrior. His duty was that of a warrior. Rajanya. And third, Vish. Vish. Vish were commoners. Vish were commoners. Who are the commoners? We have artisans, agriculturists, etc. So there were three varnas. So on the basis of occupation, society was divided into three varnas: Brahmana, Rajanya, Vish. Now, but then there was professional mobility. What is the meaning of professional mobility? One could choose the occupation of his choice in one's lifetime, and he can wear many hats. So you can follow any profession of your choice because all professions were considered equal in the society. Brahmana, Rajanya, Vish, all the three professions were equal. And one person could wear different hats in one lifetime. For example, let us say there's a person called A. There's a person called A, and he starts off his career or life with by doing the duty of a Brahmana. So he is doing the duty of a Brahmana. He's a priest. Let's say he's a priest or a teacher, and he is doing that job for about 10 years, 15 years, and he's got bored of the same routine every day. Now he wants some action in his life. So what does he do? Let us say he will learn some sword fighting, spear wielding, bow and arrow, archery, etc. He'll learn all those things. He'll do some exercise and he'll join the, he will start doing the job of a warrior, Rajanya, and he'll fight many battles. Okay, after abandoning the job of a teacher or a priest. So he will start doing the job of a Rajanya. And let us say he survives For 5 years, does the duty of a Rajanya. And again, he's got bored up with that duty. He wants to do agriculture or he wants to do business. So he starts doing agriculture, okay, for a few years. Let us say for 10 years, he starts doing agriculture, or he learns carpentry and he's doing the job of a carpenter. Then in his old age, he again wants to go back to the temple and do the job of a priest. So a person could wear many hats in one's lifetime because all occupations were considered equal. So there was professional mobility amongst the Varnas. Are you there with me? There was professional mobility. Clear? Then we have, so here apart from that, we have intermarriage among Varnas. So you have intermarriages among Varnas. Intermarriages were there. What is intermarriages among Varnas? A Brahmana can marry a Rajanya or a Vish. A Vish can marry a Rajanya or a Brahmana. A Rajanya can marry a Brahmana or a Vish, and so on and so forth. Anybody could marry anybody. So there was intermarriages among Varnas. Interdining was there. What is interdining? You could go and eat in anybody's house without any problem. A Brahmana could go and have food in the house of a Rajanya or a Vish. A Vish can go to the house of a Brahmana or a Rajanya and have food, etc., etc. So anybody could go to anybody's house and have food. Anybody could marry a person from any other Varna, not only his own Varna. Okay, so we'll come back here. So intermarriages, interdining. So intermarriages, so professional mobility among Varnas, intermarriages, interdining. Now, the minimum marriageable age. So here, monogamy was the norm. What is monogamy? Monogamy was the norm. That is one man having one wife. But then we also have examples of polygamy and polyandry. So monogamy was the norm, one man having one wife. But we also have examples of polygamy and polyandry. So polygamy is one man having more than one wife. And polyandry, as you all know, is one wife having more than one husband. So polygamy was also there, polyandry was also there. What was the minimum marriageable age for a girl? 16 years. For a girl, it was 16 years. Minimum marriageable age was 16 years after puberty, post-puberty, post-maturity. That means there were no corruptions in the society. So what are the corruptions I'm talking about? No corruptions. Corruptions like sati. Sati was not there. Dowry was not there. Child marriages were not there. So no sati, no dowry, no child marriage. Then widow remarriage was encouraged. Widow remarriage. Widow remarriage was encouraged. Then we have niyoga. What is niyoga in English? Levirate. We have the existence of the levirate system or niyoga. What's niyoga? Niyoga is a issueless widow. Issueless widow could cohabit with the deceased husband or next in kin until she begets a child. That is called niyoga. Understand this. What is niyoga? In English, it is called levirate. An issueless widow, that is, let's say there's a girl. So let us say, what was the minimum marriageable age for a girl? 16 years. Let us say there's a girl called A. There's a girl called A, and today she got married. Okay, today in the morning she got married, this girl called A, and in the evening she's going along with her husband to her husband's house. After marriage, she's going away to the next village, which is her husband's house, and she's sitting in a bullock cart. And let's say on the way, a big tree falls on the bullock cart, and the husband is killed. So this girl, newly married girl, becomes a widow, and she doesn't have any child. Now, after some time, this girl can marry or have a relationship with the dead husband's brother. So let us say her husband was a person called B. Okay, her husband was a person called B. B is dead and gone. But B has a brother called C. right? So A can have um, A can marry C or have relationship with C until she has her own child. So this marriage is valid or relationship is valid until A gets her own child, right? Now, this is called Neoga or Levirate system. Let us say her husband doesn't have a brother. She can have relationship with her husband's blood relation, maybe a cousin brother or somebody like that. Okay, blood relation. So, issueless widow could cohabit with the deceased husband's brother or next in kin, that is blood relation, until she begets a child. Did you understand? Did you understand what is Neoga or Levirate? Can you raise your hands? Now, what do you what was the reason such a institution existed? What do you think is the reason um, that such a institution could have existed? Think and answer. Think and answer. Why was this institution called levirate existing in the society? Yeah, Neoga, levirate, women equality, women empowered, increasing the praja. No, safety for her. Brajneet has hit the bullseye. Brajneet says safety for her, and Brajneet, you are very very correct. See, this girl is a young girl, 16-year-old girl. She's still young and beautiful. She doesn't have any children. And let's say after some time her parents die, right? And there's nobody to care for her. And the society will view her in a particular manner. She's still young and beautiful. The society might take advantage of her. And therefore, if this girl has her own child, right, she'll have, so that child, it is presumed, will take care of her. She'll have a purpose to live. She will take care of that child, and the child in this woman's old age, in a middle age, old age, will take care of the mother. So this is to provide social security to the girl. This was meant to provide social security to the girl. Do you agree with me? Social security to the girl. And even now, if you observe our society, if there's a widow, or a divorcee, the society will view that girl in a particular manner. This young girl, let us say, for some reason she gets divorced, her husband is a drunkard, and he comes and abuses her, beats her left and right. So she divorces her husband, and she's still young and beautiful. Or let us say she's a widow, and the society views us her in a particular manner. Our society, particularly in India, and if the girl is coming from a small town or village, it becomes very difficult for her to remarry her again. But if she's coming from a progressive family, educated family, she herself is educated, she's earning well. Let's say she's earning in a she has her own job, she's earning well, and she comes from a progressive family, she's living in a city, a big city like Delhi, Bombay, etc., then there's a better chance of her remarrying again nowadays in the present scenario. But if she comes from a small town or a village, she's illiterate, and she becomes a widow or a divorcee, it becomes that much more difficult for her to again remarry. She has to remain a widow or a divorcee for the rest of her life because the society will not support that girl's choice. It becomes difficult. Do you agree with me? So observe our society, right? So it is that much more difficult. Of course, things are changing now, particularly in big cities. Divorce has become pretty common nowadays. It's frequent nowadays, not very common, but frequent. So again, people remarry. So the chances are more now, particularly for girls coming from particular backgrounds, not for everybody. Yeah, that's the reality. That's the reality. It's considered to be a taboo, and that's why many of the girls go away abroad. They go away abroad for higher studies, or they think that they can. There's a better chance of again settling down abroad, without the societal pressure, etc. So we'll come back here. So this is the Rigvedic society. Does the relationship end with a child? That's what is said. Such a relationship will be valid until she has her own child. Once she has her own child, this relationship is no more valid. Does the widow have the right to stay with her second husband permanently? No, that's what I told you. I just now answered. So she might want to, and he might also want to, but then what is levirate? What is the interpretation given in the history books? Is this that such a relationship will last only till she has her own child, right? That's until she has her own child. But they may be meeting secretly. That's a different thing. But but we cannot presume anything. That's not there in the textbooks. We'll stick to what is there in the textbook, right? Let us not use our imagination. I said, Ankush, there could be many reasons, Kumar. Because though in ancient times, medieval times, it was a much more violent society. So therefore, and since more physical power is bestowed on a man, and they were also engaging in agriculture. So to tame the bull, to control the bull, and to do engage hard physical labor, males were required. So it was males were the ones who dictated the economy of the times, and at the same time, a male was necessary to also give security to the female. So for all those reasons, it was patriarchal in nature, right? Okay, we'll come back here. So this is about Rig Vedic society. We'll come back. Just hold on your screen. We'll discuss this. Society was patriarchal, right? And R. S. Sharma says it was tribal and egalitarian. Why it was egalitarian? Egalitarian means equal. Everybody was equal in the society because the concept of caste had not come into existence. Caste system had not evolved. Uh, it was a class divided society wherein there was professional mobility. So there were basically three classes, as you can see here: Brahmana, priestly class; Rajanya, warrior; Vish, commoners, like farmers, artisans, etc. And I forgot to mention this: there's only one reference to the Shudra Varna. There's only one reference to the Shudra in the Rig Veda, and that too towards the end of the Rig Vedic period. So Brahmana, Rajanya, Vish, and Shudra. So here Shudra appears only towards the end of the Rig Veda. Now, where is the first reference to the Shudra? In the Purusha Sukta hymn, in Mandala 10 of the Rig Veda. Understand this? Mandala means what? Book. In book 10 of the Rig Veda, we have a hymn called Purusha Sukta hymn. Purusha Sukta hymn or Shloka. Hymn is a shlok. So, in the Purusha Sukta hymn, we have the first reference to the Shudra Varna. So, what is the explanation given? I believe from the Brahman, the Supreme Purusha, that is the Supreme Purusha or Brahman, from his forehead arose the Brahmana. Brahmana. So imagine this is the Supreme Purusha. I'll draw a picture here. So from his forehead arose the Brahmana. From his forehead arose the Brahmana. From his shoulders arose the Kshatriya or Rajanya. From his thighs, so these are the thighs of the Supreme Purusha or Brahma. From his thighs arose the Vaishya, and from his feet arose the Shudra. This is the explanation given in the Purusha Sukta hymn in Mandala 10 or book 10 of the Rig Veda. The same explanation for the origin of the Shudra Varna is there in the Manusmriti as well as in the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata epic as well as the Manusmriti, the same explanation is there. This is the earliest reference to the word Shudra. Did you understand? Earliest reference to the word Shudra. This is in the Purusha Sukta hymn of Mandala 10 of the Rig Veda. So there's only one reference to the Shudra Varna, which means to say the Shudra Varna was not very common in the Rigvedic period. Only three Varnas were there: Brahmana, Rajanya, Vish. And towards the end of the Rigvedic period, we have the appearance of the Shudra Varna. Right. Then you have professional mobility. Professional mobility was accepted. You could choose any occupation of your choice. As I gave you an example, a person could be a priest, then he can do the job of a Rajanya or a warrior, then later in his life he can do the job of an agriculturist, and again he can do the job of a priest or a teacher. It all depended upon him. And how do we know this? From the shlokas. So this is the interpretation from the shlokas. My father is a physician, my mother is a grinder of corn, I am a poet. So anybody could choose the occupation of one's choice. Similarly, Mandala 3, Book 3 says of the Rigveda, O Indra Somapa, would you make me the protector of the people, or a sage, or impart to me endless wealth? So from these shlokas, it is derived that anybody could choose any occupation of one's choice. Interdining concept was present. Inter-class marriages were freely allowed. So you could marry any varna, you could go and eat in the house of anybody, there was no restriction, right? Then what was the position of women? There was gender equality. Gender equality, monogamy was the norm, but we also have examples of polygamy and polyandry. right? For example, you have in the epics, Mahabharata epic, Draupadi has five husbands. That is example of polyandry. Similarly, Surya, daughter of the sun god, married the Ashwin brothers. Surya, daughter of sun god, married the Ashwin brothers. That's an example of polyandry. Rodasi married the Marut, storm spirits. Again, example of polyandry. Then social evils were absent, like sati, dowry, child marriages. They were not there. So sati was not in practice. It was only symbolic in nature. Child marriages were prohibited. Women were given education on par with males. So women, many of them opted not to marry. They wanted to remain lifelong students. They were called Brahma Madinis, women scholars who would opted not to marry. Okay, and so women scholars, many of them are mentioned: Lopamudra, Vishwavara, Apala, Ghosha, like that. Then widow remarriages were allowed. Then I told you there's a prevalence of niyoga. What is niyoga? Levirate system. The widow marrying her dead husband's brother or next in kin, blood relation, until she begets a child. Right? And of course, slavery was prevalent, but then slaves were treated in a humane manner. Slaves were treated in a humane manner. That is, boarding, lodging facilities were given, and they were treated like human beings in a humane manner. So this is about Rig Vedic society. Clear? Kulapa is head of the family. Father was the head of the family. Father was the head of the family called Kulapa or Grihapati or Kulapati. What if child be born with girl child? It doesn't matter, Brajneet. They have not specifically specified girl or boy. Child, it could be boy or a girl. And that relationship will cease once the woman has her own child. Okay, so this is about Rig Vedic society. As you can see, it was a very nice society. Women were treated on par with males. There was no corruptions like sati, dowry, child marriage, widow remarriages were encouraged. Slavery was there, but slaves were treated, in a humane manner. Niyoga was there to to provide social security to the girl. Um, Women empowerment. Yeah. Women were on par with males, and certain amount of security was given to the girl. It was her freedom whether to marry or not. If she did not want to marry, then she was not forced to marry. So if you wanted to study and pursue studies lifelong, she could opt to not marry. Right. So we'll come back here. This is about Rigvedic society. Then let us come to Rigvedic economy on your screen. Rigvedic economy. So let me discuss this. So how was the economy like? Rigvedic economy. How was the economy? So basically, it was a pastoral economy. It was a pastoral economy. So it was a pastoral economy. Cows and pasture. Understand this? Cows. So first, I am explaining first on a plain sheet of paper. I'm writing some points and explaining, and then I'm showing you the PPT. Is that helping you? Is that helping you? It's like a revision also, I suppose. Is it helping you? Okay. So shall I continue this way? I'll come to that just one. I'll hold on. I'll come to the religion part later. Okay. Thank you. Let me move on. So it was a pastoral economy. Cows and pastures. What are pastures? Grasslands. Cows and pastures were their main source of wealth. Okay. Cows and pastures were their main source of wealth. Now, cow was the most important animal. Understand this. Cow was the most important animal. Cow is called Gau, Gau. And cow has been mentioned how many times in the Rig Veda? 176 times. In the Rig Veda, it has been mentioned 176 times. 176 times in the Rig Veda, RVL, right? In the Rig Veda. Most important animal. And cow and its various appellations have been used in the Rig Veda. Cow, along with its various appellations, have been used in the Rig Veda. So let me get the spelling. Appellations is what? Appellation is, just hold on, the various contexts in which it is used. That's called appellation. Let me just cross check the spelling. Just hold on. PLLA. Okay. Uh, so the cow, along with its various appellations, have been used in various contexts in the Rig Veda. So let us understand this. Now, what was the Rajan called? What was the head of the tribe called? Rajan. Rajan was the head of the tribe, but Rajan is also called Gopa. So everywhere we hear the word Gau here. Now, Rajan was the head of the tribe, and Rajan is also called Gopa. What was the meaning of Gopa? Protector of cattle. How to relate cow in the economy? Cow was the most important animal, Roshan. I'll come to that. So it was the epicenter of their life. It was the epicenter of their socio-economic life, cow. So Rajan was also called Gopa. Gopa means protector of cows. Protector of cows. Gopa. Gomat was a rich man. Gomat is a rich man. So rich man was called Gomat. So I have 400 cows. Another person has 500 cows. He's more richer than me because he's got more number of cows than me. So that is how a rich man was measured. Rich man Gomat. Then daughter was called Dauhitr. Dauhitr or Dauhitri. Daughter. Milker of cow. She's called milker of cow. So as if she had no other work than milking the cow. Milker of cow. Milker of cow for milk. So daughter is called Dauhitr or Dauhitri, daughter, referring to a daughter, milker of cow. Then Gotra, understand this, Gotra means cow pen. What's a cow pen? You don't have a shed on top. You tie the cow to a peg, right? With a rope, you tie the cow to a peg, but and there's no shed on top of the cow's head. It is exposed to the sky. That's called a cow pen, as you all know. So here, Gotra meant descent from a common ancestor. It meant descent from a. This pen is giving me trouble. Just hold on. Descent from a common ancestor. And Gotras were named after a prominent sage. Like, for example, Gotama Gotra, Atri, Bharadwaja, Bharadwaj, etc. So they were named after a prominent sage, Gotra. And even now, please understand, if you go to a temple, and you want some special puja to be done, the Purohit will ask you, what is your Gotra? What is your nakshatra? What is your Gotra, etc. People who are Hindus, they will know this. So here, Gotra is even now there, and it is a Vedic concept. Now, let us say a boy and a girl want to get married. Okay, let's say boy and a girl want to get married. Their families are involved here, and then they match the horoscope. You have that matching of horoscopes in many families. They do it. Traditional families nowadays, love marriages happen, so they'll not bother about it. But then sometimes, many times, the horoscopes are matched. What is this horoscope? The time of the birth, the place of birth, and the name of the person, the name of the boy and the girl, the time of birth, the place of birth. From that they are able to chalk out the movement of the stars, the alignment of the stars. When the boy and the girl were born, on what alignment were the stars located. So that's how the horoscope is calculated. Now, if the boy and the girl belong to the same gotra, then marriage according to Shastras cannot take place. Why? Because they have a common ancestor, which means to say they become brother and sister. So even now that is followed among traditional families. Gotra same hai, so they cannot get married because they become brother and sister. Are you there with me? So Kundali, you're right. Chetsha says Kundali. Marriage in the same gotra do not occur, but nowadays you have solutions also. You know, like for example, let me not give examples. I'll come back here. This is gotra. Did you get me? So Gopa, protector of cows. Gomat, rich man. Davitar, daughter, milker of cow. Gotra is cowpen. Gotra is cowpen. Um, then Gogna. Understand this. Gogna. So it's the same thing happened to Abhishek Bachchan and Aishwarya Rai's marriage. When they wanted to get married, there was some Gotra problem. So what was the solution? Solution given was Aishwarya Rai had to marry a banana plantain, a banana tree. Then with a knife, it was cut off as if she lost her husband. So the banana tree was symbolically her husband, her first husband. So the banana tree was cut off, and then Abhishek Bachchan married Aishwarya Rai. So like that, solutions are there. If you get caught in such a problem, Gotra problem, you ask the Purohit, the solution astrologer, they'll give you solutions. So don't worry. So we'll come back here. So Gotra, then Gogna, right? Gogna. Gogna is what? Literally means cow killer. Cow killer. Here referring to a guest. Here referring to a guest. Some dosh, that's true. Cowpen, cowpen is Gotra means cowpen, literally, descent from a common ancestor. Yeah, Dipshika. Gogna here is a cow killer, referring to a guest. So what is the meaning of this? When a guest, for example, nowadays, when a guest comes to your house, what do? You might give that person something to eat, some juice to drink, some samosa, etc., etc. No, now those days when a guest came, beef was offered. Beef, cow meat was offered. So therefore, Gogna means cow killer, referring to a guest. Now, very interesting this is. I just now told you that cow is the most important animal, and cow has been called Aganya. Understand this? Aganya. Aganya means not to be killed. Aganya means not to be killed. So cow was not supposed to be killed. But we just now said that when a guest came home, beef was offered. That is, cow meat was offered. So here, and cow is also called aganya, not to be killed. Then what type of cows were killed then? Because guests were offered beef to be as to be eaten. Now sterile cows were killed. Sterile cows. What's a sterile cow? Cow which had stopped giving milk. It had stopped giving milk and birth to calves. It had stopped giving birth to milk. It had stopped giving birth to calves and milk. Such cows were killed. Sterile cows were killed and eaten. Fertile cows were not killed. Fertile cows were what? Those which gave milk, and those which gave birth to calves were not killed. So sterile cows were killed and eaten. And this has become a little controversial under the present central government. The rightist historians, there's an effort to rewrite history or reinterpret history. A lot of people have been changed in the Indian historical, ICHR, Indian Council of Historical Research, etc. So they say that all this is nonsense. Cow was never eaten, etc. But whatever I'm telling you is from the opinion of classical historians of yesteryears, who have done extensive research, and then they have studied the Vedic scriptures and they have interpreted this for us. So we'll not go into the political aspect of that. We'll only stick to what is there in the standard history books, right? So cows were very much eaten and consumed in the Vedic period. And what type of cows were killed? I told you, sterile cows were killed and eaten, not fertile cows. Though cow is called aganya, not to be killed. Now we'll come back here. So Gogana is cow killer. Now the second most important animal, apart from the cow, the second most important animal was the horse. Horse was the second most important animal. Horse is called Ashwa. Mentioned how many times in the Rig Veda? 215 times. Horse is mentioned 215 times. So cow is mentioned how many times? 176 times. So just because the cow is mentioned less number of times compared to the horse doesn't make the cow more important. So it doesn't make the horse more important. Cow is the most important animal. Ashwa is the second most important animal. Second most important animal is the horse. Ashwa mentioned 215 times in the Rig Veda. So we also have references to Ustra. Ustra was a camel. Then in the Rig Veda, we have a reference to lion. Lion has been mentioned. Lion has been mentioned, but not tiger. But not tiger. But in the Harappan period, you remember Harappan times? Did the Harappans know about lion? Did Harappans know about lion? Harappans knew only tiger. Very good. No, no lion. Whereas in the Rigvedic period, people knew about lion but not tiger. Harappans ulta. They knew about tiger but not lion. So remember such things. Okay. Right? Okay. Opposite. Chicha. Yeah. So yeah. So lion is mentioned but not tiger. Now, now agriculture was a supplementary activity. Agriculture was a supplementary activity. So main occupation was pastoralism. Cows and pasture were their main source of income. That was their main occupation. Agriculture was a supplementary activity. It was a supplementary occupation or activity. And they grew what is known as Yava. What is Yava? Wheat and barley. They cultivated wheat and barley. They cultivated wheat and barley. Yava. Right? Then they did not know about rice. They did not know about rice. So rice therefore was not cultivated because they did not know about rice. Then we have um, certain agricultural implements which have been the terms of these agricultural implements are found in the Rig Veda. For example, Sira, Sira and Langala meant a plow. So this was a plow, Sira and Langala. In the later Vedic period, plow is called Hala. Plow is called Hala, but in the Rig Vedic period, it is called Sira and Langala. Then Sita, what is Sita? Furrows, that is land which had been plowed. That's called Sita. Urvara is a sickle. Sorry, Urvara is a um, Datra is a sickle. Datra is a sickle. Urvara is a canal. So wait, Urvara, I don't know, I don't forget, I forget that. So Datra is a sickle. So these are some of the terminologies we get from about agriculture. Sita was furrows, Datra is a sickle, Sira Langala were plows. So they cultivated wheat and barley called Yava. Now, regarding metals, I'm sorry. So regarding metals, the Vedic Aryans knew about ayas. What is ayas? Copper and bronze. They knew about copper and bronze. They had no knowledge of iron. So no knowledge of iron. They had no knowledge of iron. They knew only about copper and bronze or ayas. No knowledge of iron. And it was basically a self-sufficient economy. Understand this? It was a self-sufficient economy. It was basically a self-sufficient economy. So whatever they cultivated was for their own self-use, not for the wider market as such. And what was the medium of exchange? What was the medium of exchange? Just hold on. I need to contact the back team because the AC is not working. Just hold on. Okay, so IAS was copper and bronze. They had no knowledge of iron during this period. It was a self-sufficient economy. What was the mode of exchange or medium of exchange? Cow. So medium of exchange was the cow. And also they used gold ornaments like Nishka, Nishka, um, Hiranya Pindas, Hiranya Pindas, Pindas, and Manas. These are gold ornaments of fixed weight and value and did not denote coin. Gold ornaments which served the purpose of coins. Gold ornaments which acted like coins. They were not coins, they acted as medium of exchange. Gold ornaments. Nishka, Hiranyapindas, Manas, apart from the cow. And regarding textile industry, you see women mostly were engaged in spinning and weaving. Spinning and weaving was mostly done by women. Avyaya was a weaver. Avyaya is a weaver. And we have specialization of crafts. For example, Takshan is the carpenter. Takshan was the carpenter. Kulala was the potter. Kulala was the potter. Right? Then the Rathakara was the chariot maker. Rathakara was the chariot maker. Mrgaya was the hunter. Mrgaya was the hunter, etc. This is about Rigvedic economy. This is about Rigvedic economy. Let me discuss the PPT on your screen. On your screen. So this was a pastoral economy. Cows and pastures were their main source of livelihood, right? Cow was the epicenter of their socio-political life. Center of their socio-political life, cow. So somebody said how to relate cow with economy. It was the center of their socio-political life, cow. Rajan, as I told you, was also called Gopa, meaning protector of cattle. Gomat was a rich man. That is, if one person has more number of cows than another person, then whoever has more cows becomes a richer man than the other person who has less cows. Davitri was the daughter, milker of cow. Gotra was the cowpen, a group of people having a common ancestor. And generally, Gotra was named after a sage or an ancestor. Like I told you, Atri, Gautama, Bharadvaja, etc. Then Godhuli, I forgot to mention this, doesn't matter. Godhuli, measurement of time. So you see, what is this measurement of time? Godhuli. Understand this, Godhuli. You see, Dhul. What is Dhul? Dhul is, dust, isn't it? Dust. Dhul is dust. Now, in the morning, understand this, in the morning, the cow herd will take the cattle for grazing in the meadows, in the grasslands, which is generally outside the village, on the outskirts of the village or far, far, far away from the village. So when the cattle are being led away from the village en masse for grazing, they give out dust. So as they're going on the streets of the village, there's a lot of dust raised by their hoofs. In the evening, again, when the cattle are being taken back into the village, again they throw up a lot of dust in the air. That's called Godhuli, measurement of time. Gavyuti, measurement of distance. What is this measurement of distance? Gavyuti, the distance between the hind leg and the front leg. The gap between the cow's front leg and the hind leg. That is called Gavyuti, measurement of distance. Generally that is measurement of time. Godhuli, measurement of time. Then Gavyuti, measurement of distance. Gogna, I told you, referring to a guest, or a guest, cow killer. Gogna means cow killer, referring to a guest. Then we have examples here. R.L. Mitra in his book Indo-Aryan says that beef eating was in practice. So this is one person who has done extensive research. So beef eating was very much practiced in the Rigvedic period. There's reference to meat eating by upper classes, including Brahmins. So Brahmins also used to consume meat, I believe. Apastamba Smriti. So it's written by Apastamba. He says, in order to satisfy the Pitrus, dead ancestors, the Brahmins shall be fed on meat and fish. So this is according to the Apastamba Smriti. So from such references, we come to know that meat was very much consumed by the Aryans. Now, cow or cow was the most important animal, mentioned 176 times in the Rig Veda. Then where cow is also called aganya, not to be killed. But then what type of cows were killed? Sterile cows were killed, those which had stopped giving milk and stopped giving birth to calves. Ashva was the second most important animal, mentioned 215 times. Ustra was a camel. Then among wild animals, lion has been mentioned, but not tiger. Tiger has not been mentioned. Agriculture was a supplementary activity. Yava was cultivated, that is, wheat and barley was cultivated. Rice was not known and therefore not cultivated. Sira and Langala denoted plough, whereas in the later Vedic period, plough is called hala. Plaza was the plowshare. Sita was land that was ploughed, that is, furrows. Urvara were fertile land. Datra was a sickle. Kulya were irrigation canals. So, from these terminologies, we come to know that agriculture was practiced, but on a small scale, on a limited scale. Among textile industries, spinning and weaving were mostly done by women. Vyaya was the weaver. Then we have various garments mentioned like Vasana, Nivi, Paridhana, Atka. These are names for garments. Takshan was a carpenter. Rathakara was a chariot maker. Kulala was a potter. And the distinctive pottery of this period is called Neela Lohita, painted graveware. What was the pottery of the Harappans called? What was the pottery of the Harappans called? Black on redware, isn't it? BRW. Harappans used to pottery of the Harappans, black on redware. Harappans used to make pots on the wheel, then they used to give it a red color paint. After baking it in the kiln, after firing it in the kiln, they used to give it a red color paint, and then they used to make designs in black on the red background. Therefore, Harappan pottery is called black on redware. Whereas the Aryan the pottery of the Vedic period is called painted graveware, PGW, painted graveware. So the pots were painted gray color, therefore called PGW. Then iron was not known, as we have seen. Ayas was used. Ayas was copper and bronze. So you have limited trade and commerce. They were pastoralists. It was a self-sufficient economy. Mode of exchange was the cow. And they also used gold ornaments of fixed weight and value, like Nishkas, Manas, Hiranyapindas. They were gold ornaments which acted as coins. Okay, they were used as a medium of exchange, apart from the cow. This is about Rig Vedic economy. Are you there with me? This is about Rig Vedic economy. And then we'll talk about Rig Vedic religion. Any doubts here? Any questions? Can I move on? Okay. Then we come to religion, Rig Vedic religion. So let's talk about Rig Vedic religion. I'll use a screen here, separate page. So let's talk about Rig Vedic religion. How was the religion of the Rig Vedic Aryans? How was the religion? Yes, Godoli happens at evening time. Yeah, that was measurement of time, Godoli. Now we'll come back here. Religion. Now, Rig Vedic, somebody had asked this question earlier about religion of the Rig Vedic Aryans. We'll come back. I'm answering your question now. So we're crossing the bridge here. Who was that? I think it was Ankush. Ankush was a person, I think, who asked about religion earlier. Jaswant. Okay, Jaswant, you're the one. We'll come back here. Now, the Rig Vedic religion, understand this. What is, I'm asking you stupid questions, but this is just to, carry forward the message. What is monotheism? You all know what is monotheism, worship of monotheism. Monotheism is the worship of one God. Okay, all of you know this. And polytheism, you also know that. What is polytheism? Worship of many gods. Yeah. Okay, so monotheism is worship of one God and polytheism is many gods. Okay, now Rig Vedic religion, understand this, Rig Vedic religion has been called henotheism. It has been called henotheism or cathenotheism. It has been called henotheism or cathenotheism. It has been called henotheism or cathenotheism. What is henotheism or cathenotheism? That is monotheism within polytheism. Monotheism within polytheism is called henotheism or cathenotheism. Okay, right? Monotheism within polytheism. For example, see, among the Hindus, you have many gods. Ganesh is there, compulsory Ganesh is there. Then, of course, Shiva, Vishnu, Lakshmi, okay, Kali, Durga, and you might worship some saints like Sai Baba, etc., etc. So many gods are there. But one particular god or goddess stands out. He or she is considered more important than other gods. That's your Kul Devata. Okay, that is called Kul Devata. Did you understand? That is, so the one particular god stands out. Yeah, that is called henotheism or cathenotheism. One particular god or goddess is more important when compared to other gods. You worship all gods, but one is a little bit more important than the others. Mostly your Kul Devata. That is called henotheism or cathenotheism. So there were 33 gods. It could be anything. Kusti Devata. I didn't understand, Ankush. What is Kusti Devata? Kusti, that is wrestling. No, I didn't understand your Kula Devata. You call it Kusti Devata. In your place, I don't know. Did you understand what is henotheism or cathenotheism? Not 33 Koti Devata. It's like horoscope god. Yeah, probably. Okay, we'll come back here. Now, there were 33 gods. During this period, there were 33 gods. Not 33 crore gods, there were 33 gods. And these 33 gods were divided into three sections. On your screen, you have a Prithvisthana, that is earth-bound gods, gods which are on the earth. Then Antarikshasthana, middle, they are in the middle, Antarikshasthana or Madhyamasthana. And celestial gods, Dhyusthana. So three grades of gods. On your screen, you can see here, Prithvisthana, see the chart there on the left side. Terrestrial gods, they're all earth-bound gods. Okay, they cannot fly. Prithvi, Agni, Soma, Brihaspati, reverse. These are all Prithvisthana, terrestrial gods. Antarikshasthana or Madhyamasthana, atmospheric gods like Indra, Rudra, Vayu, Vata, Parajanya, Matariswan. Then Dhyusthana, celestial gods, Dayus, Mitra, Surya, Savitri, Pushan, etc. These are the three levels of gods. So please understand, Aryans were nature worshippers. Hello? Aryans were nature worshippers. They could not understand. They could not understand why there are so many natural forces. Like, for example, you have the sun in the sky, moon in the sky, thunder, lightning, rain, wind, etc. So what did they do? They gave names to these natural phenomena. Indra, Agni, Vayu, Varuna, Akasha, Prithvi, etc. Then they composed shloks, hymns in praise of these gods. They composed hymns or shloks in praise of these gods and they worshipped them. So they were nature worshippers, unlike the Harappans. You remember Harappans? Harappans used to worship Pashupati Mahadeva, the mother goddess, Linga, Yoni, people tree. Then fire altars are seen. Of course, demonophobia was there. Snake cult was there. Aryans were nature worshippers, right? Their most important god was Indra on your screen. So what did they do? During this period, Aryans were nature worshippers. They followed simple rituals. They followed simple rituals Okay, and made offerings of yava. What are yava? Yava is wheat and barley. So they made offering of wheat and barley to go to the gods, some vegetables and fruits. So they offered vegetables, fruits, yava and barley. And in return, what did they ask for? They asked for praja, pashu, and dhana. And dhana. So it was a simple and materialistic religion. Praja is what? Mainly sons. If children are born, let more sons be born. Pashu, cattle, and dhana, wealth. So they asked for praja, pashu, dhana. And if children are born, so it was a very simple and materialistic religion. It was a very simple and materialistic. It was a simple and materialistic religion. It was a very simple and materialistic religion during this period. So the most important god was Indra. So I'll use the screen here now. Indra was the most important god. He was the rain god and the warlord of the Aryans. So most important god was Indra. Indra. So 250 hymns are dedicated to him. 250 shlokas. And he was the war god, warlord, and rain god of the Aryans. So now please understand that duty of rain is done by Varuna, and looks like Varuna is very angry this year. So many parts of India we are having drought-like situation, right? Because Varuna god is got angry. But those days that duty was done by Indra. So warlord and rain god. And Indra, yeah, that is true. Tanishta. I heard that cattle were equal to wealth in Vedic era. That is true, Tanishta. That's why I told you. Gomat, rich man was called Gomat. I have 10 cows, you have 20, you are more richer than me. So obviously, cattle was equal to wealth during those days. Sakshi, will come to that. Just hold on. Warlord is, they used to worship, he was the war god. So Aryans used to drink Soma and Sura, the intoxicants of those days. So they used to drink Soma and Sura. The principal Soma drinker was this Indra. He was called Somapa. I'll use another page here. So the most important god was Indra. Understand this? Indra. 250 hymns are dedicated to him. And Indra has been given different titles. Somapa. What is Somapa? Principal Soma drinker. Somapa. Somapa. So he was like a rowdy god, rowdy immoral deity. He's been called a rowdy god who loved to drink and feast. So Somapa. Then Jitendra. So Somapa is one title if we've got. Jitendra. Then Somapa, Jitendra. Then Purandhara is also called Purandhara, breaker of forts. You remember when I did Harappan civilization, I had spoken to you. So Aryans used to pray to Indra, having drunk Soma and Sura. Then they used to go to wars. And Indra is called Purandhara, breaker of forts. And here forts refer to the citadel area of the Harappans. Historians say this probably refers to the citadel area of the Harappans, Purandhara. Apsujit. So Apsujit. Vritrahan. Vritrahan. So he's supposed to have killed a demon with his weapon called Vajra. So Indra's weapon was Vajra or a thunderbolt. So with that Vajra, he's supposed to have killed a demon called Vritra. Therefore, he's called also Vritrahan. So these are the various titles given to Indra. 250 hymns are dedicated to him, and his mount was the Airavat. His mount was the Airavat. What's an Airavat? A white elephant. This was a white elephant with 7 trunks. It had 7 trunks. 7 trunks and two tusks. 2 tusks. So white elephant with 7 trunks and 2 tusks. Indra. So warlord. Did you get me? Bhimare. Bhimare is he was the war god of the um, Aryans. So here I'll come back here. Just hold on. Look on your screen. So most important god was Indra. Second most important god was Agni. Third god was Soma. Like that, you have many gods, and then we have female divinities like Usha, goddess, early morning goddess. Then Aranyani, forest goddess. Savitri, solar goddess, in whose honor sage Vishwamitra is supposed to have composed the Gayatri mantra. We'll come to that. Just hold on. So look at the screen in before you. So Vedic religion has been called henotheism or kethnotheism. Henotheism or kethnotheism. That is belief in single gods, each in turn standing out as the highest. So I told you monotheism within polytheism is called henotheism. So Aryans personified natural forces. They were not able to explain, understand why there is thunder, wind, lightning, rain, etc., sun in the sky. So they would compose sloks, hymns in praise of these gods and worship them. Totally, there are 33 gods divided into three groups. And I have already shown you the chart. So these are the various gods divided into three groups. Prithvi, Agni, Soma, Brihaspati, rivers. These are the terrestrial gods. Then you have atmospheric gods or intermediate gods, Indra, Rudra, Vayu, Vata, etc. Then Dhyustana, celestial gods, Dayus, Mitra, Surya, Savitri, etc. So 33 gods divided into three sections. Okay. Now, most important god on your screen, most important god was Indra or Purandhara. Okay, 250 hymns are dedicated to him. He is the warlord and the rain god of the Aryans, known by different titles: Jitendra, Purandhara, breaker of forts, Shatakratu, Somapa, etc., Apsujit, Rateshta. So these are the various titles of Indra. And he killed a demon called Vritra. So he killed a demon in the guise of a serpent. So this demon had taken the form of a serpent. And what was the weapon of Indra? Vajra, a mace, that is thunderbolt. His weapon was the thunderbolt, Vajra. So with that Vajra, he's supposed to have killed this demon who had taken the form of a serpent, a gigantic serpent called Vritra. So therefore, Indra is also called Vritrahan. He's also called Vritrahan for that reason, who killed the demon Vritra. Therefore called Vritrahan. And his mount was the Airavat. You can see here Airavat, Airavata. Airavat was the mount of Indra. ओके आज वेबिनार है तो क्लास 5 to 10 minutes पहले एंड कर देना ओके so actually I might end a little faster because the AC is not working. It is so hot here, pretty hot because of the the heat of the lights, etc. So let me finish the religion part and that will terminate Vedic period, and then I can end the class, right? I can continue with later Vedic period later. Yeah, Airavat is an elephant. That is true. Airavat is an elephant. And in the Rigvedic period, you see, Indra is always associated with the Apsaras. Apsaras are there, isn't it? Indra's Apsaras. Rambha, Urvashi, Menaka, Tilottama. So these are not mentioned in the Vedic literature. Probably they were not yet born. Probably these Apsaras were not yet born. So this is Indra, most important god. Okay, then the second most important god is Agni. On your screen, Agni. So now let me explain. Agni. Second most important god of the Rig Vedic Aryans was Agni. 200 hymns are dedicated to him. 200 hymns are dedicated to Agni. And okay, so we'll come back here. 200 hymns are dedicated to Agni. Now, Agni was acting as an intermediary. Agni was acting as an intermediary between people on the earth. Understand this, between people on the earth and gods in the heaven. Intermediary between people and gods, people on the earth and gods in the heaven. So he was like a postman. And even now, Agni is doing that job. Now understand this. Let's say, there's a family. Let's say there's a family of 5 people, father, mother, children, and and there's no progress at all in this family. There's a lot of health issues. They're having health issues, financial problems, right? Then progress problems. That is, they're not progressive. um, Children not getting jobs even though they are qualified. They're not getting married though they are good looking, beautiful, handsome, etc., etc. So this problem, there's a lot of family problems for this family, a lot of problems. So they go to an astrologer. They go to an astrologer and they show the kundali jatakam, that is the horoscope. And the astrologer will calculate, a very famous astrologer, let us say, he'll calculate and then he'll tell the family, the gods are very angry with you. The gods are very angry with you, particularly your family god. Your family god, let us say this family god is Shiva. Example, okay? Just take a hypothetical example. The family god is Shiva, and the astrologer might ask them, tell them, when did you last visit your uh, family god, Kula Devata? Your Kula Devata temple, let us say in the village, when did you last visit? And the family says 20 years back. So he says that is where the problem is. Shiva is very angry. Your family, their god, is very angry with you. And along with that, all the 9 planets are angry with you. You please perform a home. You perform a sacrifice or a home, Navagraha sacrifice or Navagraha home. Appease all the Navagrahas, 9 planets, including Shiva, and all your problems will go away. So then the family consults a priest and they pay some money to that priest, whatever is the fees, required fees. And then next day, you have a battery of pujaris, purohits who come. They will set up a yagna kund, homa. Homa kund is set up. And all the family members have congregated around the yagna kund. And the pujaris are also sitting here. All the pujaris are sitting here, okay? And the family members are sitting here. And the fire is kindled. Understand this, the fire is kindled, okay? And they have brought all those things, paddy, fruits, vegetables, ghee, butter, cereals, dal, etc., etc. And then the fire is kindled early morning. Family has taken a bath and they're waiting for the pujaris. And then the pujaris come, the purohits come, and they start the home. First Ganapati home. Okay, so they will start. Once the fire is kindled, they will make an offering into the havan. So ghee is poured, paddy grains, fruits, pulses, cereals, etc. And then through the smoke, all those offerings are carried to Ganesha. Ganapati is waiting in the heaven to have his breakfast. So Agni is acting as an intermediary, like a postman between people on the earth and gods in the heaven. So gods are very angry there because they have not been appeased, satisfied with food, water, etc. So this family is performing a home. Everything is offered into the Yagna Kund, Homa Kund, or into the Havan, and through the smoke. What was the vehicle of Agni? Havya. Havya is smoke. It's called Havya Vahana for that reason. Havya. Havya means smoke. So Havya Vahana. So through smoke, all those offerings are carried to Ganapati, and Ganapati will suck everything through his trunk, and he is very happy because this family has given him breakfast, and he'll bless the family. Then you have the Navagrahas, Surya, Chandra, etc. So one by one, all these Navagrahas, 9 planets, are appeased by offering food into the Havan. And then ultimately Shiva is also given breakfast. And all the gods will bless the family. And hopefully things will take off for that family. This is the belief even now. Did you understand? Home, Havan. So Agni is performing the duty even now. समझ में आ रहा है ना, all of you? So that's why I said postman. He's acting like a postman between people on the earth and gods in the heaven. Right? And right? So this is how it is. Now, where does he reside? Understand this? Where does he reside? Agni is supposed to reside in your domestic hearth. Agni is supposed to reside in your domestic hearth. What is domestic hearth? Where you cook your food, where your mother or the ladies of your house cook the food of the house. Generally in the southeast direction. Southeast direction, according to Vastu Shastra. I know a little bit of Vastu. So, according to Vastu Shastra, southeast direction of your house is where your kitchen should be there. That's where you're supposed to cook. Okay. Thank you, Gunjan. But this is out of experience. So we'll come back here. Did you understand? Now, The belief is wherever a kitchen is there, wherever a kitchen is supposed to be there, that is southeast direction. Let's say there's a bedroom. There's a bedroom where a kitchen is supposed to exist. So if there's a master bedroom, husband and wife are staying in that bedroom where in the southeast direction, where supposedly a kitchen should have been there, then that atmosphere is pretty tense, because there's a lot of fire energy there. So there's a lot of tension between the husband and the wife. There's a lot of fighting happening. That's a belief according to Vastu. Anyway, I will not go into that aspect. Let me not digress. We'll come back here. So Agni. So 200 hymns are dedicated to him. His vehicle is a smoke, and he's supposed to reside in the domestic earth in your houses, and in the sky in the form of lightning, and then in the celestial place in the form of sun. So in the celestial level, he is in the sun. In the atmospheric level, in the form of lightning, and on the earth in the form of in your domestic earth. That's why it's called Agni Mula. Your kitchen is called Agni Mula. Okay, Sakshi, you should consult a Vastu expert. I'm a history teacher, so I can not be able to give you a solution. Right? This is about Agni. So second most important god. Second most important god is Agni. 200 hymns are dedicated to him. And he's also called priest of the god, priest of the gods, and gods of the priests, god of the priests. So priest of the gods and gods of the priests is called Atiti, or intermediary between. So has three forms: terrestrial or fire, atmospheric or lightning, and celestial or sun. So this is Agni for you. 200 hymns are dedicated to him. Second most important god. Third important god is Soma. Third most important god is Soma. He was the king of the plants, and in the later Vedic period, king of gods. Now understand this. Third most important god is Soma. Out of so he has been mentioned in Mandala 9. In Mandala 9, or book 9 of the Rig Veda, Mandala is book, as you know, in book 9 of the Rig Veda, out of 120 hymns, 114 hymns are dedicated to Agni. 114 hymns are dedicated to Soma. Okay, so out of 120 hymns in Mandala 9 of the Rig Veda, 114 hymns are dedicated to Soma. So Soma was not only the name of a god, it was also the name of a drink. Soma was name of a drink also, and the name of a god. So here Soma is the king of plants. In the Rigvedic period, he was the king of plants. In the later Vedic period, he became king of gods. Now, where does Soma reside? In the Mujavant Hills. He is supposed to reside in the Mujavant Hills, in the Himalayas. He is supposed to reside in the Mujavant Hills in the Himalayas. That's where Soma resides. And Soma, I told you, was the third most important god. Are you there with me? Clear? This is Soma, third most important god. Then we have lastly, I'll end this class with this. Varuna, 20 hymns are dedicated to him. 20 hymns are dedicated to Varuna. Then he is called world sovereign. He is called world sovereign. That is king of the world. So he's called world sovereign, king of the world. And what was the duty of the Varuna? Duty of Varuna was to maintain the Ratha, or cosmic order. What is Ratha? Ratha is cosmic order. He's supposed to uphold the Ratha. Varuna upholds the Ratha, RTA, or cosmic order. What is this cosmic order? That is the sun rising in the east. Every morning the sun rises in the horizon. Then again, it sets in the horizon. Then the moon comes out. Then no ocean is overflowing. All the oceans are flowing at a particular level. All these are taken care by Varuna, I believe. So he's called the upholder of the cosmic order, or Ratha, and he's called world sovereign. So this was a UPSC question asked. Who is the god who upholds the Ratha, or cosmic order? It is Varuna. Please remember that. So this is about Rigvedic religion. I may have some more things to discuss, but since we have a webinar coming up, I'll stop the class here. I'll continue on Monday from here onwards. We'll finish this chapter. I have to do later Vedic period. Once I finish Rigvedic religion, I have to do later Vedic period, and then finish the chapter and go to the next chapter. So we'll meet on Monday again. I'll call it a day. Is it fine? You have a webinar at what time? 8:30. You have a webinar at 8:30? Okay. So you carry on then. We'll meet on Monday, right? Tomorrow weekend class is there for the weekend batch students at 12 o'clock. Yeah, now 8:20. Carry on, carry on. Thank you. All of you, thank you. Have a great weekend. Safe weekend. We'll meet on Monday. Thank you. So it is fun. Later Vedic period is fun. We'll meet on Monday. Good night. I'm logging out. Thank you for your patience. Roshan, because you have a webinar, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 8:30 you have a webinar. So I have been asked to stop by most of the students. Yeah, Roshan, that's the reason. Okay, you have a webinar at 8:30. So I'm logging out. Thank you.